Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary. Tonight, I have some awesome guests, people I've been talking to for quite a few months trying to make this thing work. We have Chris and John from the Bourbon Barrel. And go ahead, guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi there, I'm Chris.
I'm John.
We're the
Nice
Bourbon
to meet
Barrel.
you. He's neat. I'm Rox. We do goofy things like that with our names, in case you're wondering which one's which.
Yeah, at any point I might refer to them as Neat and Rocks. That's kind of their your moniker, I guess we'd call it. Yeah, I like that.
It works.
But good job, guys. You nailed the intro.
Yes.
So I see a lot
down.
of people in the chat. I see a lot of people pulling out samples. Steve, I see you there with your 25 samples tonight. Awesome. Everybody who's watching, tonight's a good night to try something that you might have like a limited amount of, because it's just kind of fun to do that every now and then. I would imagine if you guys are anything like me, you get them from your friends, you get them from other people, and you have some samples hanging around. So tonight's a good night for it. Speaking of samples, so Chris and John sent over some samples for us to drink tonight. They were very kind in doing so, and I think I'm going to probably have to return the favor. So maybe we'll have to talk about what you guys would want off the shelf back here. But but we've got some cool stuff. And do you guys want to tell them what we got on the docket tonight?
So, much to my chagrin, he sent you samples of Johnny Walker Black Label from 3 different decades.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah. So we've got the Johnny Walker from the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, all the research I did said this is a 70s label. I could actually ask you this right now because you might know. All the pictures and all the stuff I saw that said this is a 70s label, but explained why, and it has to do with the cap and the color, because the top would be black if it hit 80s.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be a screw top in the 60s because it was actually a cork at that point. I'm not 100% sure. It's just stuff I looked up. And here it says like Highland Scotch whiskey on all those bottles, but ours says Johnny Walker. Would that be because it was imported to the United States and they changed the label?
That's a good question, because typically they would just say blended, not Highland Scotch. Like I would think they've been using the blended concept forever. I wonder if the rules were a little different way back then. That very well could be. I do not know the answer, but that's interesting. Now I kind of want to know.
I figured if anybody did, it'd probably be you. So
actually, I would say the chat probably would know, and they'll certainly let us know.
They'll find out.
Another technological thing I'm not going to be good at.
So let's see. So let me just say hi to a few people. So we got David's here. He was first one in the chat. Good job, David. You win the prize. There is no prize. So Pat, Alex, John. So Alex Alex is a big supporter of those new single barrels I did. He bought quite a few of them, and I'm very, very happy about it. So Alex is currently on my good list. Let's see. We got Michter's Rye tonight for Colin Mack. That's nice. All right. Well, let's do this. I always like to just start off with a drink even before we kind of get going because it just loosens the tongue.
Perfect.
It's Friday night. We should have already been drinking. It's already 8:00. I mean, come on. What would you guys like to start with?
So, I mean,
we gave you 3 of 2 different things: 3 Woodinvilles and 3 Johnny Walkers.
So.
If I was gonna answer for him, I would say we get the Johnny Walker out of the way first because he'd like to finish happily, and he is not a Scotch fan.
Okay,
Which was going to be one of my questions to you throughout at the show is going to be, how would I help get him more into Scotch? What would be a good, you know what I mean, good stepping stone or something?
I actually think I have the perfect answer for that, and I think you're in the right time frame. Right now, American single malts are really taking off. So if you wanted to bridge the gap between, say, bourbon, although I believe you like rye quite a bit too, Chris, right? Is that
Rye's pretty tasty, yeah.
All right, perfect. So I would say lean towards some American single malts and get to know those, and then you might be able to kind of bridge the gap. But if you don't like Scotch, I'd be interested to know what you don't like about Scotch, because then I could probably point you in the right direction.
It's the peatiness of like just.
I figured,
it's not for me.
That is what I hear from virtually everybody who tells me that they don't like Scotch, which to me says they probably haven't tried most types of Scotches, because the smokiness is actually really only Well, it's from quite a few distilleries, but there is a considerably lot more of distilleries that don't have peated whiskeys. So what I would aim for is some sort of space sides, and I can definitely recommend some to you later. But yeah,
sounds good.
We'll get you. Cool. Maybe when I pack you guys a box, I'll include some stuff. So.
All right. If we were going to do the Johnny Walker first, how would you like to do the arrangement? Oldest to newest, newest to oldest?
So I have not yet had anything to drink. So I don't want to have the one that I want to appreciate the most first, because I feel like it's going to just, you gotta break it in. So you say that we have
newer is always better.
So,
I sent you one in case you didn't have any black at your house.
Oh, okay. This is just the little nip. Actually, that's perfect. I will actually leave that closed and bring that somewhere someday. And I'll open up my regular black.
Perfect.
So,
I figured if you didn't know we were going to do it and then you just didn't happen to have any on hand.
No, I'm good thinking. I don't necessarily always have the Johnny Walkers on hand, especially the red. I try not to, and then certain people like Steve give
your
me...
video where you put the bag of garbage up there when you are reviewing it, hands down, was one of the first things I saw. And was like, I'm always watching it. I'm always watching the show now because I don't know what's gonna happen. What's next? Is he gonna pull up and?
I gotta say, I get comments on that video probably every like 2 or 3 days. I'll get a new comment on, and it's years old at this point. So
yeah, it's still that was creative.
Can you hold that 70-ish black label up to the camera?
Absolutely.
Oh, 70s camera. Here, you do this.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's from the 70s. It's pretty old.
Yeah.
Definitely a little sun faded, and even the top is kind of. I mean, it still works, but it also might be some sediment in there.
That's all right, as long as it's in there and not in what came over here.
Yeah, I think yours was strained, so you're fine.
Perfect. All right, so I want the one with the
Sorry.
Let's talk about some of this packaging real quick, because I want to show the viewers.
Oh my God, he wants to show the viewers.
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't get this kind of thing and then not do anything about it. So
Sweet.
Let's start off with these. So I've got a couple new beer cozies to my name now. We've got Chase Elliott.
I have to keep glass from hitting each other.
And then Kurt Busch. Hey, dude, honestly, I'm just giving you a hard time, but this is actually a very smart idea. I've got 100 of these things. Pretty awesome.
Well, there you go. I gave him an idea for if he's got to ship something, right? I guess.
Right.
I told you he was just like us. He's literally like just ripping on me. We would be doing this to each other.
To
all
be fair,
day.
you deserve it.
And I deserve it. I absolutely do. I'm not saying I don't at all. Not even close. No.
Yeah. No, I'm all right. So let's do this. Let's start with the let's pour like a small amount of just like the current one. And then let's go backwards in time.
Yeah.
I think if we pour a small enough amount of each one, I think it'll be good.
That works.
Yeah. So I'll put that one to the side. So you had sent me, John, you sent me this one a while ago, and I forget what it is. It's not the.
Oh, sure.
What was it?
Is it the Muscatel Woodinville?
It might be. It wasn't in the. It was in the
was
previous
it
packaging.
by itself?
Yes.
One by itself.
Yeah, it's the Muscatel Woodinville.
Okay.
Muscatel finished Woodinville.
That has been sitting on my shelf forever, because like that was kind of supposed to be when we first were gonna do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a
you know
while
what?
ago.
Actually, this is a brand new bottle. Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Have you had the high rye bottle or no?
I haven't yet, no, but I've been tempted to buy it a lot of times. What do you guys think of it? Have you tried it?
No.
No, okay.
I know I saw it and I wondered what you thought. I love the Jane Walker. It was one of my favorite things I brought to one of our shows. It was Scotch, and he wasn't a fan, and the story behind all the women who have to do with that blend,
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool idea for them to do, for sure.
Yeah.
So those are some hot shirts. I guess he's looking at yours. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, he's all dressed up. I mean, he's never usually dressed up.
No, not usually. We
can change that.
We can make it a little more fun or down to earth or whatever, because we have other clothes we can put on, I suppose. But anyway.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just reading the chat. Somebody said those are some hot shirts. So whatever.
There, I
that's
got
a
this
familiar
T-shirt
smell.
recently. There you go.
Oh, nice! I love it. Oh, that's
Here,
great.
man.
Dude, it's falling out. It's falling out.
You're the first person I've seen in one of those.
Nice.
I
Nice.
can't- Whatever he said, I'm sure I don't want to hear it anymore.
I said you're the first person I've seen in one of those.
Oh, well, there you go. I don't know. I thought that was a cool one. So, do I have to start an account and people have to pay me to take it off? How does this work?
Usually.
You know.
Usually.
That's the
Hey,
best joke I got
actually,
for that,
I'm gonna
so.
give you guys a little bit of an honor. So, Steve A. Every time that we do a sample stream, he always picks a whole bunch of stuff, and then I usually pick the number that he has them randomly organized. So, you guys got to pick a number 1 to 25.
14.
14, Steve. All right. Let us know what it was, Steve. Did you guys pour your whiskeys yet?
We did.
All right. So, well, how about this? Let's give a cheers to you guys and your channel, and hopefully some people check you out and like what you do. So, cheers.
Thank you so much. We got started and I was just getting ripped on the whole time.
Hold on, wait, hold on.
Properly.
Don't be a savage. No, you can't talk. You gotta drink.
Oh, my bad. All right.
You don't get between a man and his whiskey.
Yeah, come on.
Holy crap. I'm glad I'm drinking.
All right, now you may profusely thank me.
Thank you. No, but seriously, we've been looking forward to this for a long time.
No, I have
And,
actually been too. My goal
Oh
tonight,
my
by the way,
God.
is to make John spit whiskey out of his nose.
I'm gonna cry. I'll cry first.
Well, because it'll be coming out of your nose.
I will cry before.
I have paper towels, so I'm ready for this event. Let's do this.
We refer to me as the bourbon dumpster. When he doesn't like something or we both don't like it, I keep it, and eventually I'll just get rid of it by drinking it. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So
Yeah,
but
I
you're
mean-
gonna make me cry because I'm gonna laugh so hard. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh,
So-
good. Here's hoping.
That's awesome. That
You know-
is so awesome.
So, Chris, I know you don't probably love this one because, I mean, especially Johnny Walker Black, you are talking a peated
Yep.
blended scotch. Mildly peated, but it's there. And unfortunately, it is. I really, really wish that Johnny Walker was not as popular as it is, or more just so in the zeitgeist of the populace, because otherwise, I think people would actually really like scotch if they didn't start with Johnny Walker or Chivas Regal or like a few of these other ones. There's so many others. Even if you went to like Glenmorangie 10 or something first, you'd have such a better time. But anyway, I could go on about that.
No, that's fine.
I really like
I don't
scotch.
know. It's scotchy.
Scotchy.
I want to try the Bruichladdich that I saw from that documentary on Netflix. I'm sorry, Scotch the Golden Dram. The guy was all about that Bruichladdich, and I just really want to taste it because the documentary was so good and the way they explained everything so well. But the problem sometimes comes to like, do I spend $60 on an 80 proof bottle? You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I totally know what you mean. And so that's an interesting concept. So I personally get annoyed when any bottle is 40%, because I look at that, even if it was, if I was talking to the distiller, looking him in the eye, and he was like, it is the exact perfect alcohol in order to make this taste the way I want, I still wouldn't really believe him. Because if you are doing the absolute minimum, I am assuming that you are trying to make as much possible money off of that barrel as you can. If you put it out at 42%, I think world more than you about you. Even I think I've had a couple of scotches that were 41%. Like that at least says, hey, maybe this was done on purpose rather than this was done for the law. But anyway.
Fair.
I feel like I'm going to do a lot of ranting tonight.
I love it. I love
I think
it
I'm
already.
in the mood. Yeah.
I feel like I can't.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I know. I'm keeping trying. Am I making noise though?
No, you're fine.
No, not at all.
I'm
No,
just
you're good.
hearing something.
Yeah.
Alright.
So we were discussing
I
how
can't get it to
John's
work.
an old man and technology
He
is
doesn't
not.
know,
not
he doesn't know
his
how
friend.
earbuds work.
You know, he's kind of like, I don't
This is
understand.
just a roast of me. That's all this
there's
is.
just
I've got a
go
rubber
in
band. You
the
want us to like
ear.
wrap it around your head?
No, leave me alone. Talk about whiskey. Jesus, what?
I don't
Let's drink more.
understand these
I need-
technologies.
Back in my day.
And I hate all of you. That's it. Oh,
Oh, that took 17
Okay,
minutes.
don't
Not
bye,
bad.
You, miss you.
17 minutes to hate everybody.
Not quite a record, but
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll back up for you. This one we noticed is from the 70s is 86.8 proof.
Okay.
So,
Johnny Walker Black. So, do you know the reasoning
year
behind
they
that, or when
switched
it
to the
changed and
80.
all that?
I don't know the year it changed, but I do know that it used to be higher. And then
Okay.
so like when Johnny Walker kind of first became a thing, their whole deal was that they wanted to spread out as far as humanly possible. I think within a few years they were in 101 different countries of starting up. Like they went everywhere. It's part of the reason the bottles used to be a slightly different shape, but part of the reason for the square is because they pack tighter, or you can put these on a ship and they're not going to break. Because they would put like a little bit of divider, but you didn't have to use as much material, blah, 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 blah. So they went out to like over 100 countries, and that's why everybody knows Johnny Walker. Nowadays, things are a little different. More distilleries can get that kind of expansion, but still, like, it's known around the world. It's kind of the definitive Scotch, if people think about it. So,
Speaking of,
Yes.
the next one on our list, the Johnny Walker Black
From the 90s?
2006.
okay. So that's this one with the gold cap. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's.
Did you like my old man version of giving you that bibliography there, so you knew what?
I do like it a lot. So I think
I was worried that like the cap, I wrote on the cap like some X's and N's, and I was worried it would rub off. That's why I put colored rubber bands around.
that was smart actually, because I have definitely had that happen, not only to ones that I've gotten, but ones that I've sent. I've had people ask me if I could like sign the Glencairns when I send them out, and I'm always just like, it's gonna rub off immediately, but I'll try. So all right, so this one is the 2000s-ish Black Label.
Yeah.
So this is a 750 bottle. Okay, right?
Oh,
next
wow.
to it. It's about 4 liters.
It comes with its own cradle.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
You can cradle it.
That's huge.
Yeah, this was from the Canadian Duty Free Store.
That's what she
Because
said.
I went to college up in Buffalo. And so you're only supposed to take like 1 to 2 liters across the border.
Smooth.
But you're also only supposed to like less than 4 bottles.
Okay.
And so the customs agent asked me if I have anything to declare. This is like 4.5 liters, but I did just buy it in their duty free store.
There you go.
Right.
I was like, I only have the 1 bottle, officer. It just happens to be massive.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's kind of like that classic, like, well, you can only have one beer after work, and so you just have a gigantic glass,
So
Oh, that's right. We have to pour this.
yeah, this is gonna be.
That's fun.
Yeah, this is kind of
Yes.
awesome. Oh, I love it.
I didn't.
There it is. So just
You're,
just a
you're
little bit.
gonna have to do
Sure,
that. I'm
no
not trying to
problem.
reach in there, and that's weird.
You're weird.
I am weird. It's true. I think that comes across pretty quickly.
That thing's really cool.
So yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, definitely.
you would do well if you ever got around to it. Film a short and just feature that thing, and I bet it will do really
Absolutely.
well. Yeah.
I know
So
what
this-
we're doing when this ends. So,
There you go.
I got you.
okay, I can just put it right there. You want it back right there? or
You
no?
got it. Just don't
Oh
break
yeah,
it.
I'm pulling the glass.
How big
Don't
that
break
thing
it.
is.
Like, you've had 1 drink, Grandpa. Calm down. Give us the big bottle. Like,
Let me
That's how
tell
it
you
is.
what I think about the. Yeah.
back in my day when I just took over a plastic bottle.
Nice.
Anyway,
The glass was made out of wood. Just-
Absolutely.
oh my god.
oh, I'm being so
This
mean.
is-
So
wow.
regarding
No,
the
it's
whiskey.
freaking awesome.
Perfect.
This is so awesome.
So with the whiskey, so there's definitely a very different smell to both of these for sure. I find I don't know what you guys think, but I find the newer one to smell sweeter than the older one, and I would imagine it's not like it hasn't been open forever. I mean, you just showed it and it's pretty full. So
It's been open since like 2005, 7, somewhere in there.
okay. But you only had a
But-
little tiny bit. Either way, I don't
Yeah,
think that
it's-
would affect the smell, but I think the taste will probably tell a lot. So have you guys had a
That's
sip of
fair.
the new one yet?
I'm
I
going.
just did.
All right,
but we're
let's
good.
do it.
So
Cheers.
go ahead.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm. Mm.
It's different.
So-
it's
It's definitely different.
To be fair, I like this one better than I liked the newer one.
I agree. Yeah.
Also, our newer one was in a plastic little.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't even buy a whole bottle. It was
But,
just
yeah.
I personally have found now, given you're not getting like a ton of nuance when you're drinking anything coming out of a nip. But I have not really found too much of a difference between what comes in a plastic nip bottle and what comes in the larger size. Like if I had that Johnny Walker nip that you gave me versus the bottle here, I bet they would taste identical. I just can't imagine that they would ship it and have plastics getting it and having any sort of taint to their flavor, because it's kind of the whole point of whiskey. So, but either way, so I agree with you guys. The flavor on the older one, the 2000s one, is, first off, it's a fuller flavor. It's got is the ABV? What's the ABV on the 2000s? Do you know?
I believe it's an 80s. 80 proof.
Is that the one that was 86?
No, that's the 70s. Is the
okay,
86.
I thought so.
I believe it's 80.
I'm still looking. Just go ahead, but I don't see it on this big label.
It's I'm relatively confident it's 80 proof.
Okay. Yeah, that's even more impressive then, because it's carrying a lot more flavor on the same amount of alcohol. So very interesting.
I literally don't see it anywhere on this label.
That's all right.
You can't see because he's old.
It's true.
Nice.
Where's the magnifying glass? Seriously, I can't see it anywhere, dude.
I love every time you pull that thing.
Age 12 years.
It's so big.
Oh yeah, you're 80. Yeah, good call.
It's 80. Okay.
80.
That thing is so
but to be clear, it's like a clear label over top of the whiskey that says the 80 part. So
you're giving excuses.
I am. Leave me alone. I walked uphill both ways to school. You don't know.
I wrestled alligators for fun because we didn't have no TV.
So now I'm dying to try that 70s, just because we have them all side by side, and I know poor Chris is waiting to get to something that's not Scotch.
Hey man, I'm here all night.
Fair enough. All right,
to be fair, we've done a couple episodes, and he's drank some Scotches and some Irish whiskeys and stuff.
Okay.
That I sent you that American Oak Redbreast, right?
Yes, you did. I drank that actually up in New Hampshire, just kind of hanging out. It was very good. Yeah. So the Black Cap Tall, there's two of them. Darker color is the Woodinville, so it's this one. Yeah. Okay.
We wanted you to have a puzzle to solve during
makes
the
sense.
episode.
Because I put a lot in the
part of the
Woodinville in there in case it was enjoyable.
Also, part of the reason I wanted to do these early, because I knew that was going to trip me up if I had a few drinks. So, like, what is Black Crap Trawl? What?
I'm good. You enjoy that, sir.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. There you go.
Oh, you're killing the bottle.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
We was.
I think it was like a half and half. Like you had about half, and then he had. Look at all the crumbs. It's like it was corked, but
you get to chew that.
Grandpa likes the crumbs.
Yeah, you enjoy that, sir.
Nice.
You get to chew that. So I have a friend that told me he had this bottle and he found it. His family had a lake house, and they've already sold the lake house. They bought it in the 80s, and this bottle was there and open when they bought that the condo. You know what I mean? Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So
it was a lake house.
If I get poisoned, you guys have video proof of who did it to me.
I'll be there with you, man. This is harsh.
No, but hey, I just said I found it, and you guys were like, "Let's do that."
That smells like leather.
Yeah,
that is such a way different nose.
Crap all night. That's what you guys believe.
Yeah, John's like, I'm glad I spit in his.
Holy cow! That is just straight like belt.
Yeah, that's way different.
Yeah.
It's
the crumbs are merging.
It kind of smells a little bit like cigarette ash to me, a little bit.
It could be.
Well, I heard tobacco before in tasting notes, right? Like, I mean.
Yeah, like I'm talking more like
leather?
I'm talking more like walking into the house of somebody who smokes, not necessarily like actively smoking too, because it's. Yeah,
I remember something about
You know what, Chris? I know. I know what we could. I'm gonna say this is a leather jacket from a person who smokes. So.
Ooh,
that's perfect. Yeah, because I thought leather was when I was doing.
Yeah.
Smelling out. Wow. But yeah.
By the way, Alex, I see you.
Don't get any on the sofa.
I see your comment. So, all right, do you guys want to try it? Cheers.
Let's do this. Cheers.
Man.
Oh.
It tastes like there's a lot less alcohol.
Wow.
Like it tastes like it's 20 or 30 proof or something. I don't taste alcohol.
I totally agree. It definitely drinks very easy. It also tastes exactly the way it smells to me.
I just want to say that I regret all my life decisions that led me to that moment.
It's funny because I try that and I think to myself, I've had a lot of people tell me that when they used to drink Johnny Walker back in high school, whatever, in the 70s, they used to like it a lot more. And I think I could see why, because the flavor on this is significantly different than it is now. It's a unique flavor, but it's also, you guys kind of nailed it. It's a little bit watered down. Who knows? This thing was in the lake house. Maybe the kids were drinking it and refilling it with water.
Switching it with water. Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds like my buddy that we're talking about.
My mom used to do that with her mom's vodka.
You used to. You're so sweet. I'm telling her, just so you know.
Under the bus.
Yep.
So based off flavor, I'm curious. Actually, I'm gonna pick on you, Chris, only because I think this is probably more painful for you.
Finally.
Well, you know what it is, John. Chris hasn't been putting himself out there as much as you have. I gotta need to target in on something that
Go
anyway.
For it.
So
that's what happens when you get on OnlyDrams. So
you lose your self-esteem. But which of these three would you choose if you had to pick one, Chris?
The 2000s one.
How about you, John?
Pick one is the best, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's the 2000s one, but I'm considering the first one, the current one, but not the last one.
I feel the exact same way. I can see why the 70s was different. Like, it's vastly different. It's a whole different whiskey. I think of the three of these, the 2000s one has the more full flavor. It's got an interesting set of flavors, and the newest one is sweet, which kind of makes sense if you're going to try to open yourself up to a market. But I totally am with you guys. I think that middle one is the clear winner here. So nice.
And that was the only one I noticed that it was a little bit delayed with like the peaty taste. Like there was a separate note in the front, and then afterwards it built onto the peat. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I was okay with that.
Some of the research I did, people were talking about the older stuff, the old 70s stuff used more sherry barrels than they do currently when you drink newer Johnny Walker Black, because of something to do with something in Scotland about having more sherry over there at the time than they do now, or something to that effect. And possibly maybe it's from Kalila. I didn't mean to step on you there.
No.
More Kalila in the blend, because Kalila is known for something to do with the peatiness of it or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, and I apologize.
No, you're right. So Kalila is like a huge part of Johnny Walker, as far as the makeup of it, right? So I think Johnny Walker, all of them are, well, not all of them. One of them, I forget which one, is made up of like 40 different whiskeys, and the rest of them are all blends too, and probably up there as well. I just don't know how many off the top of my head, but I do know Kalila is a large part of all of them. So anyway, yeah, so you're right. But as far as the sherry barrels go, now you got me thinking a little bit now, and I don't know the answer. And if anybody in the chat knows, you could kind of short circuit some of my research here, because I think I might do a video on it. But like, everybody's doing these sherry barreled finishes, right? And it makes sense because everybody's buying sherry barreled finish. However, I'm curious if there is a reason, like if there's an influx, and this is just the market or not the market, the distillers working together with the the winemakers and being like, oh, we've got all this extra stuff. Oh, okay, cool. Then let's all make sherried whiskeys because we've got all these extra barrels, and those people all talk to each other, are all billionaires. And I'm curious. I'm curious if there's a reason that's everybody's just doing sherry, or if it's just the way the market's going. But yeah, sorry, This is how I come up with my episodes.
Yeah, good questions.
Somebody says a thing and I just start talking, and then I come up with episodes. So
that's how conversations work, I thought.
Right? Yeah, I guess that's true. Is that? I don't have any friends, so I don't really know.
Yeah. No, my D&D group hasn't played in like 6 months, so I don't have any friends either. Oh my god.
Well, we are occasionally in need of guests on the Dungeons and Drams channel, so maybe we'll.
I've seen it; it's excellent. So anyone who hasn't should.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, that is my current source of stress all the time. So,
dude, as a DM, isn't it always like just exhausting after you're done? Like the
worst part is you can't do stuff like ahead of time. Like it's really game to game. Like as soon as you finish a game, you can work until the next game, and anything that you do past that point might not matter. So,
all right, nerds. Grandpa wants to drink. What's happening right now? I don't understand I'm confused.
All right. Well, John, actually, before we
I
pick
gotta
another
strike back sometime. Just
no,
for
that was
fun.
perfect.
I
That was
nothing,
perfect timing.
Yep.
I'm surprised you could hear us though. You can't even keep that thing in your ear. So,
Yeah.
I won't stay in my ear. I'm trying.
so John, Steve needs another number for his 1 through 24.
1 through 24. Hold on. Pressure. I see. All right. 10.
10. Okay. 10. Let us know what it is. Hey, Bourbon Bites is in the chat. He's another one of my favorites.
Nice.
Have you guys checked out his channel before? He's a good guy.
I don't think I have checked his out, but I've heard of him, and
I've
just
definitely heard the channel.
Yeah.
it's nothing against him. Just
He does
Let me
really
see
good
the
live
short.
streams. It's like they're shamefully unattended, which is a disappointment because I actually think he does some of the better live streams that I've seen. His community's pretty awesome too. So
Nice.
let's see, what are we drinking next, fellas?
we can go into the Woodinvilles, or we can do the Hardin's Creek that I sent you, or is that it?
I think that's everything he's got. So,
Those
So
three in that.
let me tell you
I'd
let me
vote-
tell you what I have
Is that
left.
right?
Because I think this will be interesting for the viewers as well. So we have the Black Cap Tall, yes, this one, which is more juice plus danker color. Yes, I believe that's more juice and danker color. This is the Woodinville port finish. So then one of the other bottles. So I'll whatever, joke's over. So there's regular Woodinville, and then there's Hardin's Creek, which has an orange rubber band, and then the Alton.
Oh,
So
the
I've-
Alton, right? That's on the floor now.
and then there's the Muscatel.
And then the
as
Muscatel.
well.
Yeah, 3 Woodinvilles, Hardin's Creek, and the Alton. The
So-
Alton was because you liked our destination whiskey premise at one point,
Yes.
and that's so far the best bourbon we've tasted from New York, which is where we're at. So,
Well, why don't we
Thought
go
we'd
into
let you
that
have
one
some.
then? Let's let Chris
Sure.
enjoy himself.
all right.
Who's to say I'm not?
I mean, they can't see under here, so they don't understand. But anyway,
So I'm sorry. Which one am I doing? Is it the Alton?
the Alton. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that. That's
All
what
right.
you said. Didn't you say let's do the Alton?
Well, no, I thought I did. I just wanted to confirm. I wanted to make sure that I did.
I feel like I've had way more than 3 drinks because I can't stop laughing.
We're gonna get that out of your nose yet, John. Don't you worry.
I didn't,
So this is 47 ABV. So
All right.
Oh my god. Anyway. What actually got you started? I was going to ask you this from the beginning because not until the Daniel episode recently that I mentioned to you before did I find out how long you've been doing it. I never actually caught that, and you've been around since longer than most of the channels.
Well, you know,
not all of the big ones, right? Like,
yeah. I've been doing this for over 8 years. It's like
So where did you get started
it
with
might
all
even
this
be
journey?
9. What year is it? Yeah. So it's been 8 years. So long story short, when my wife and I were dating, and people in the chat might recognize this story, but I always love telling it. So when my wife and I first started dating, we ended up going to a friend of hers house for dinner, and the husband and the wife are both from Kentucky, and the husband, he's definitely got the Kentucky accent and everything, and he's, he tells me, Bill, did you ever have whiskey? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've had like Johnny Walker and I've had Jack Daniels, and those are fine. And he's like, no, like good whiskey. And I'm like, probably not then. And so then he says, I'm going to take you, we're going to go to the basement. The first time I'm ever meeting the guy, he's like, I'm going to take you to the basement. We're going to go drink. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So, and then he pulls out 7 bottles. He's like, I'm going to take you around the world with whiskey. And we ended up having like a bourbon, a rye, a scotch, a couple different kinds of scotches. We had something from some, I don't even remember. I wish I knew which bottles we had, but we had all 7 of them. And then towards the end of the night, my wife ended up driving home instead of me. And as we were driving, she says to me, she's
7
like,
bottles.
yeah, I know, right? She goes, I find a guy who drinks whiskey to be pretty sexy. And I was just like, that's all. Apparently that's all I needed to start a multi-thousand, hours of whiskey tube. Yeah, I just see women. This is what compliments will get you. Like men will do anything if we get like a single compliment. So.
Yep, that's accurate. That math checks out.
It does. Along with your 7-year-old running up to you telling you, Dad, you got whiskey to learn. So.
Yes. I forgot about that.
That was hilarious. I laughed hilarious like at heart when you said that to me. I was like, damn.
You know, it's funny. I was doing the Ardbeg video last night. I was editing it, and I looked back at one of the other Ardbeg videos I had filmed previously, and apparently I had forgotten about this. I had a very similar story of me coming upstairs and one of my kids saying my breath smelled like smoke. Because I had been drinking Ardbeg, and I was just like,
wow.
Yeah. So,
nice.
So my oldest is 8 years old now, and I've been doing the channel for about 8 years. She was born in May, and I started the channel in March. So I started the channel 2 months before she was born, I guess. Yeah, and I must have been kind of stuck at home and bored while my wife was pregnant or something. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it's
If
funny.
you would have named your channel after her first name, it would have been the same story as the Penelope guys who make Penelope.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah,
Which is a very tasty whiskey, by the way.
Oh, I haven't had a sip yet. All right, so let's.
No, we'll send you some. Sure, it's fine. We'll send you some.
Oh, you're talking about
I
Penelope.
do you-
All right. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Kids.
I thought Chris was
So,
just telling us to shut up and drink, which I was okay with. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, idiots! I'm holding this. You promised me bourbon."
I got this. This is my favorite New York whiskey
That's
bourbon.
right.
Ooh,
So
this is
let's-
really
let's
good.
Put it in my mouth, please.
There you
Oh.
go.
This is really good.
What do you call that? What the Alton?
Bourbon?
No.
What do you?
No. It comes from the place. It's a
The Adirondacks?
never.
I don't know what you're asking.
No, it's a country club.
Use your
That's
words.
what I was. I'm sorry, country club. Damn. Boy, you guys should never work with the elderly because you're just gonna.
Oh, no
I'll
problem.
eat them
No
forever.
desire.
No, it's some kind of country club.
That's cool. When I turn a certain age, I'm jumping out of a plane without a parachute, so it's fine.
Oh my
So
God.
Chris,
I told you, I'd cry before anything else.
Chris, he just told you that you shouldn't work with the elderly. So I think it needs to just become your show.
Yes.
I second it.
Oh my God.
I like him.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the. Wow.
You brought
The
this on
saddest
yourself.
thing that- It's true. He's right.
Can you go get that over
So
there?
you can lock the door behind
No,
me?
just go ahead. Just grab
It's-
those chips real quick.
There's another. I don't want those. I gave you those chips because they suck. I don't want.
I'm just trying to get you
not getting those chips.
All right. So how about
We
this?
can be the bantering team.
Yeah.
This is a good question. A little silly, but whatever. What is your go-to? I'm way too drunk. I need food snack. Same question of the chat too, because I'm looking for some ideas.
So it has to be food in our house then, because we can't drive.
Nah.
Or
I
we
mean,
can have
well,
delivered. It could be DoorDash.
I would
right?
say like it's. Yeah, you could do DoorDash if you want to, but if you had to go upstairs right now and go eat something to try to take down the alcohol, what would you get?
Taquitos.
Nice.
Jose Ole taquitos.
I'm guessing
Not
you'd microwave
not
them instead of
off-brand.
oven because
You'd
who's
have
got
to.
time for that,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, no.
frozen pizza.
Frozen
It's generic, but it's
That's-
true.
It's gonna take too long. I'm gonna be vomiting by the time that's done.
It won't though. I can be at that point before I know where it's headed. You know what I mean? Like I can get there and I'll have the pizza ready and be like,
That must come with age.
It does. And maturity, you freaking child. Jeez. Wow, mean. Anyway, so
Ooh.
you like the Alton? It's one of our favorites, etc. You know what I mean? Like,
The
and it's a
Alton's
country
really
club
good.
somewhere. Yeah.
I
It's certainly not a shelfer. It's a random thing I found somewhere.
No, this
you know
is
what I mean? It's not
fantastic. So this is not this is not normally available.
I found it once.
I don't think it's a very large distillery, and it's pretty new. But yeah, just the 47
apologize if I'm not doing
ABV.
this
So
All right. Has anybody in the chat ever had that one? Because I've never seen it on the shelf anywhere around here. Now you said it's a
Catskill Mountains.
a New York whiskey. And I don't know if I ever actually asked you guys. Where are you from? Are you from New York?
yep, we're upstate New York. We're close to the border of Pennsylvania.
I had a funnier
so
answer.
We can drive back and forth with whiskeys, like illegal alien kind of thing, just back and forth
Nice.
between the border.
Yeah. This is a
I'm
very
just
good
glad I'm
whiskey.
still on the show.
Yeah. Again, our favorite in New York, and there are
The other one,
many-
the closest was Great Jones. It's the Manhattan Distillery.
Okay.
We tried that. That was pretty decent, but we unanimously decided this one beat it out. So I don't know. There's not a lot, but I was going to ask you something about Widow Jane. Widow Jane went under the Heaven Hill banner, if I'm not mistaken. Has anything changed as far as like, is it still what it was if I buy the 10, the 13, or the Decadence or whatever, or has the juice and the plan haul changed? So I'm not really going to taste pre-bought out buyout stuff.
Because
it's New York.
Widow Jane, Heaven Hill. I did not know that they got acquired. I'm curious when.
Damn, I hope I'm right. I thought I heard that.
Yeah. Heaven Hill buys owner of Widow Jane Few Spirit. Okay. So Heaven Hill bought the umbrella that already owned Widow Jane. Okay, that makes more sense because that's like I get whiskey news like every day and I read as much of it as I can, but it's totally not unlikely stuff will slip past. So it looked like that was February of 2022 when that happened, which I'm trying to think back because that Lucky 13 that I bought, I would guess that it was definitely made before that all happened. So here's what I know. I never ever see the Widow Jane special releases around here. And my only hope is that if they did get bought by a bigger company, if they get an influx of money, it would be cool to get some of those special releases released out here. I just hope that they keep the quality up. As far as to answer your actual question, I have no idea because my guess is if it only happened a year ago, there probably hasn't been any changes yet, or if they have, it's probably just barely in the barrel, you know? Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because some of them are a little bit pricey. Like we discussed earlier about some things, and it's just, do you try it when you've never like really, I don't know. I can look up reviews and such, but and that's fine, but I don't know. I was just wondering what you thought. So
yeah, no, it's actually funny. I'm in like a weird situation where I feel like the content that I make it rarely benefits me because I usually just buy things anyway. I hear a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm like sitting in a parking lot and I just watched your video and I went in and I went and bought the bottle. Or even just like I was in the store and I fast forwarded to the end to see if you said it was worth getting or whatever. I don't really do that. I more look at it and I'm like, what would somebody just pick off the shelf? Because that might be a more popular bottle. Just as far as like marketing, like I let marketing work on me because I figure it will work on the people who view the channel. But yeah, so I just kind of buy whatever, but I guess, same question back to you guys. Like what influences your, like, why'd you pick up the Alton? Just cause it was yellow?
He's been picking up the New York bourbons just because they're from here and he wants to try the local stuff just because it's something that not everyone has access to.
Yeah. Are there a lot of...
might be something unique.
Are there a lot of distilleries in New York?
Not a whole lot. There's Mackenzie's, which...
4 and 20. It's called 4 and 20. That's right on like the Cleveland, Ohio border, but yeah.
There's
4th and 20, 4 and 20.
There's a couple. There's the Manhattan ones.
There's Southern Tier. We tried Southern Tier. There's Great Jones. There's Mackenzie's. There's Widow Jane is.
So there's like a handful.
Yeah.
And there's also
no, the one that we haven't bought because it's too expensive and annoying. Hill Rock.
Oh. Okay.
Hill Rock. See,
And then there's this from Buffalo, which is 1 foot cock. I actually just picked this up today because our distributor actually just got it for me because I asked for it.
Nice.
So very cool.
Good to have connections.
Nope.
Yes.
Not saying a word. Not saying a word.
But yeah, no, that's it's very nice.
We're past that 10-minute thing where you didn't want us to swear, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like 40 minutes later.
Finally, he's got a 1 foot cock.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of which, so I typically keep these to about an hour, but I don't really have much of an interest in that tonight. I figure we'll just go until it feels weird, and then we'll drop.
I said that to him earlier. I was like, all I was going to tell him was, we're not time constrained. If you want to keep it going,
we can talk about
whiskey
until he's blue in the balls.
Well, that's been years, so it's kids. Anyway.
Yeah, there was something I was about to say. So somebody was calling you out. They said if you're on the Pennsylvania border, then you aren't Southern Tier and you're not upstate. I don't know if maybe they weren't talking to you guys.
We're Southern Tier.
We're Southern Tier, twin tiers.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
We're close to the Pennsylvania border. We're like in the Ithaca Corning area, the Finger Lakes region.
Yeah.
Technically.
If anybody's,
I don't know.
We're not rich. Don't try to hunt us down.
I got about $20. It's all in the back.
So
Hill Rock is another one though. Hill Rock's
One we haven't tried yet. That's New York because it's priced. The lowest price they have is like $80 or $90. It's like, what the hell? I don't.
one thing that's kind of a shame is about like I've done a bunch of craft distilleries and stuff. Like some of what you described, obviously not all of those are, but some of them sound pretty small. And either like it was never worth doing the craft distilleries, even though I found them to be some of the more interesting ones. Because first off, nobody's ever finding the videos, right? So like they would always be some of the worst viewed. But I also found a lot of them, like they'd be like, oh, please try our stuff. And I would, and it's just like, oh, this tastes so young and awful. And I don't want to tell you that, but yeah. But more so like I've never heard of some of those distilleries that you mentioned. And I'm guessing they don't even get outside of the state, which is tough because if I want it.
Yeah, that would.
Have you ever heard of a New York bourbon?
Just Widow Jane. Which, yeah. And then, you named I've heard of, there was the Southern Tier. I've heard of that brand, but
20. Right.
I'm trying to think.
There was Mackenzie's is probably the biggest one.
Is it?
I think.
Great Jones is in Manhattan. It's literally the distillery. It's the only
Manhattan
distillery in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Life.
Well, I just thought maybe that meant people had heard of it or something. Like, why go there if you're just gonna suck? Like, somebody must have heard of that shit. Like,
so TripAdvisor's listing the top 10 distilleries in New York as Kings County, Hill Rock Estate, which I've heard of Hill Rock, Finger Lakes Distilling, Burville Cider Mill.
Really?
Okay. Dark Island Spirits Distillery, haven't heard of them. Black Button Distilling.
Black Button's here. Yep. Black Button's here.
Dennings Point Distillery, Clayton Distillery, Lake George Distilling Company, and then Catskill Distilling. And it keeps going, but
so Catskill,
the Alton is in the Catskill.
Alton is the Catskill.
It's on the label.
They just made it.
But yeah, Lake George is in the middle of nowhere. Like that's
yeah.
But it's New York, so is there anything near you, like distilleries near where you're at in Massachusetts, that are like actually like you were shocked and like, holy crap, this is amazing?
Unfortunately, no. There was one, and then it got bought, and then so here's what happened. So it was a little while ago. I went and did a distillery tour at a place called Boston Harbor Distillery, and that's in Everett, which is very, very close to the actual Boston. And I went there, I did the distillery tour, I filmed, I did everything. I met the distiller, who was very new to it. He was younger than I was, and he had just started, and he's like, yeah, I'm a head distiller. And I'm like, I mean, maybe in title. So, but I will say, like, their stuff was actually pretty good.
Yes.
But it definitely needed more time. So after a little while, I got back in touch with them, and I was like, hey, if you guys put out anything new, it might be time to kind of get your name back out there again. And they're like, oh yeah, our head distiller left for another distillery in Massachusetts, which had just opened up. It's called Glen Pharma, like pharmacy. And I'm like, Glen? Massachusetts? That's weird. Okay. And turns out it's only like a half hour from my house. I still haven't gotten out there, but he's working there now. So I might make a time to go out there. Other than that, the only one that you may have heard of is like Berkshire Distillery. That's a thing.
Sounds familiar.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything else in Massachusetts. I almost feel like I'm missing something obvious. But for the most part, we're much more beer here than anything. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I actually, do you guys, are you familiar with the beer Dogfish Head?
Yes.
So I got an email today. Apparently Dogfish Head is doing a whiskey, very limited run kind of thing. They emailed me today to ask if I wanted to do a thing, and I'm like, hell yes, first off. But here, just listen, because it's awesome. So I've never tasted it. It might be terrible, but it sounds like it's going to be good. So it's obviously based off the Dogfish Head, kind of like their mash, their beer. So then what they do is they actually put it in the same barrels that they age Utopia from Sam Adams in, and then which is like super heavy prune, kind of like dark fruit stuff, and then it's more of a brandy than anything, and then that's what they are aging it in. So I'm very curious to know if it's going to be any good or not, but it sounds like it could be very good.
That's interesting. It could go one of two ways.
Yeah, totally.
What a surprise! One of two ways. Yeah. Woo,
my
right,
real hope here is that the Dogfish Head has a name behind them, so I don't think they're gonna just put out crap and be like, oh yeah, it'll do fine because of our name, whatever. I think that they'll probably get backlash if it's not good.
Right. Yeah, I watched a special on them like when they were first starting up. Like they do they do kind of weird stuff with their beers, but it always turns out well. Like the brewmaster there, I guess, is very well.
He's 18.
Very well liked. But yeah.
So what are we drinking next?
Hardin's Creek it's looking at me.
Perfect.
It's looking at him.
It's right there.
We'll go with the Z.
Face on it and everything.
I do like that we're making progress through all these samples.
Oh my
so
god!
That's that
You
one.
said we're going with the Z.
That looks great.
Oh my god!
So we're actually doing this right because this goes up in proof. This is 108 proof now. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
So I'm not saying you don't know. I already know this too, but this is Beam. It's a permanent limited edition. They're gonna put this one out, and there's another one called.
Hold on, wait. Permanent limited edition. So is it going to be like a yearly release kind of thing?
Annual
He
release.
didn't say annual,
Okay,
but that's
yes.
kind of what I got too
Yeah.
when I read it. But yeah, there's Jacob's Well and there's Colonel James B. Beam. They're both 108 proof. This is 2 years old. This was around $80. And the Jacob's Well, which they did not have, so I didn't have an option, is 15 and 16-year-old bourbons, also at 108 proof, and they're $150 MSRP.
Okay.
And the other interesting thing about this is the manager of the store that I know that he had this, and I said, oh, I grabbed a bottle the other day because I didn't see him the day before that, or 2 days before that, and he said, oh, you know what, they told me that wasn't coming to New York, and then it just showed up.
Oh.
That's what I told him, like, oh, well, lucky us, I guess, because I don't know,
Right.
but who knows?
Maybe lucky
I don't
us. We're gonna
understand all
find out.
that, where it goes. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
2-year-old,
But a
man.
2-year-old 108, like, I'm
It's,
kind of nervous.
Yeah.
What? I
And
gotta
it
tell
comes
you,
with this weird leather strappy thing that just I don't even like go on. Why is there so much maintenance?
it smells really good. It's like
Okay.
very candy, very sweet. Like it's almost got like a cinnamon candy smell going on though.
Damn. It's got a real heavy metal cork,
Nice.
and it's synthetic too. Yeah. Do you
I
have
do
a take
like
on
a
synthetic
nice-
versus real wood and all that?
Yeah. I like when like the corks are. I'm trying to phrase this so that it can't just be like misheard. I like when the corks are very heavy. I don't want to
Yes.
don't want to say that other ways.
You did just have 1 foot cock on the show, and I get where he was. Yeah, I got that. That was smart. That was smart.
my
You're
parents
like,
actually
Grandpa
called
over
me the
there
other
has been
day.
saying stuff.
My parents called me the other day, and they're like, "Have you ever heard of a whiskey called chicken cock?" I was like, "Sure have." And they're like, "Really, chicken cock?" Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Oh, and if you get angry with another one of those bottles, we have
Yeah.
this one.
Wow. Oh yeah, fighting cock. There you go. Such a great
It
whiskey.
is.
That's not my phone.
No,
that's yours.
me. I have an alarm
Oh
set or
man,
something.
You have
I
an
was
alarm
about to
set?
comment
You have
on,
to take a pill or...
I was about to comment on John being an old man with a loud phone, but Chris, unfortunately, that was it.
Grandpa's got to take a pill, and he was just like,
8:55 at 9.
I don't know what just
5 at
happened.
9. on
We
Friday,
need to drink more.
Apparently.
Yeah,
That's
for real.
what's happening.
All right. So anyway, the smell on this is fantastic, right? So as I mentioned, it kind of is like a cinnamon candy thing going on, but much more on the sweet side. Almost like just a straight like white sugar kind of smell.
I was definitely picking up the cinnamon. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta try
I
this.
mean,
Cheers,
what
guys.
can, 2 years, that's the weird part to me is
Oh.
Mm.
That is
Wow, that evolves.
art.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that a lot.
Definitely
long finish.
heavy on the front right there.
Yeah.
But I think that's because we've been drinking like 80s.
I think you're totally right. That was my first thought too. I was like, wow, this is only like 108, I think you said. And yeah.
Mhm.
That's really good.
It's-
So I'm trying to. So you said you don't really taste the cinnamon?
No, I'm picking up lots of cinnamon. I
Oh,
smell the
okay,
cinnamon,
good.
Not
All
so
right.
much the sugar. Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't really
Get
know
more
how
like
else
light fruits. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's accurate.
Apple
That
or
spiciness
pear,
is
something
like cinnamon. Like you could.
I'm something. But the heats, I'm the 108 doesn't shock me.
Mhm.
The 108 doesn't shock me. But it's good for 108 in 2 years.
Yeah, I was
That's what I
gonna say, for
keep. My
two
head's
years,
always
it's
going
not
back to
awful.
2 years.
I missed that. You said 2 years. Wow.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
You've got the
Yeah.
bottle over there.
What
It
are
says it on the label. Yeah.
What are they doing with their barrels that this is only 2 years old?
That's why we talk to you.
Yeah. I mean,
It,
if it was the
I'm
South,
looking.
I would have a guess, but in New York, unless they're climate controlling.
No, this
and
is
just-
Hardin's Creek is Beam.
Yeah, this is down.
Oh,
south.
oh, okay.
This is Jim Beam product. Colonel James B. Beam, Hardin's Creek.
Okay,
So
all right.
we flipped. Sorry about that. We
No,
might
that
not
was
have,
that's
made
fine.
that clear. I apologize.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, the only thing I could think of is it must have just been a very hot couple of summers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Although the color is, I mean, the color doesn't look
Right.
wrong for a couple of years. It's maybe a little
Mhm.
dark for 2 years, but it's not like super dark. It doesn't look as dark as what it tastes, because now that it's on the finish and it's just drying there, like there's some tannins going on here as well. It's a little oaky on the finish. I don't know what the heck they do to this, but I'm very curious.
That is a good question. You
Talk
can't.
now.
That writing is so small. You're never gonna read it even with glasses, sir.
And I hate it. This is just buzzword nonsense. I'm just was wondering if there was something that was going
okay,
to come
yeah.
into it and not like, Colonel Jim B.
Yes. Our unique take on aging. We
Yeah.
we put it in a barrel. It's a unique take on aging.
And dude, it says old, aged in barrels. Literally, like, come on, where did we think it was? Like,
Steel vats.
in my
It is-
day,
It is always funny to me when a bottle like that's on the shelf, like your random guy who's walking in there that usually goes and buys Tito's and now he's gonna go buy a bottle of whiskey. Like he's not gonna see that bottle and be like, oh, like I read the label in it. This is aged in barrels. But like, so who's that marketing for? You know, because the people who buy that is like us, and we know that.
Yeah.
So
right?
I guess not everybody's good at their job, and we just assume they are.
I mean, it's a Beam product, right? So they have to know something. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they've been around for a while, so that's on them.
Well, I
Shame
mean,
on
it
them.
could be Doug from marketing who just got hired last Thursday. You know.
Right.
Dude, no one's put this on their bottle yet. We got them.
I'm gonna change the game.
Doug, I got
It's
nothing.
his first day. We can't
I got
fire him.
nothing.
Yeah.
But
Just give him this one. We got to work on his confidence.
it's
Uh,
but at $80 for
Yeah.
what I drank, I'd probably grab a 100 proof Knob Creek, whether it's the 9-year or whatever, or even the 120 proof single barrel reserve for like 50 or 60 before I buy this again.
Mhm.
That's how I feel about that. Not that it's bad, but that when you include the price point, that's who I am between us. That's my thought process.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Now that makes
I'm
sense.
sorry, but
I don't. It's tough. I don't buy a whole lot of bourbons. Mostly because first off, there's 101 bourbon channels out there. And so I like to cover Scotch instead. But even when I buy bourbons, like I truly am a bit lost when I look at the shelf. There's just so many, and the amount of times I've bought bourbons and it's just like, oh yeah, we bought some MGP and made up some bullshit. It's like MGP's great,
Yes.
but I like to buy whiskey for the story. I don't like to buy it for the manufacturing.
So when we first started doing the whole bourbon thing,
Mhm.
it was like we didn't know our ass from the hole in the ground. But
when I was young,
we've since had the opportunity to discuss, like, because we just figured, oh yeah, they're just buying MGP juice and
Yeah.
maybe doing a little something to it, and that's it.
or nothing.
But we actually had the privilege of talking to Jesse from Doc Swinson's, the
Okay.
head master distiller,
Blender.
blender, not distiller. Thank
Yeah.
you. Because they buy from different locations, some of which we're not supposed to know, I guess, but
Mhm.
MGP a lot.
Ross and
Um,
Squib.
Sure, call it that.
Isn't that what it's called now?
Yeah, but no. But like he actively, like, he explains his process, like they do all sorts of crazy stuff to it, and we were lucky enough to like have him give us samples of all this crazy shit he's done.
Nice.
And like he did this one that he's like, he finished in a tequila cask, like it was called Tres Amigos.
Mhm.
And it's like a Muscatel and tequila cask and like the original cask. So it's the 3 different casks that it's aged in. And that was one of the best like whiskeys, bourbons, whatever I've ever had in my mouth.
He had one called Smoke on the Water,
Okay.
and that was finished in quarter oak Scotch casks.
Yep.
But he couldn't say the name, but he said Google it. As soon as you Google
Yeah,
quarter
it
oak
was
Scotch
Lefroy.
casks, it'll pop up Lefroy. See,
Yeah.
because that's what I did it immediately. I was like, I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's so funny. The marketing people, they want to tell you everything, and they will tell you everything just shy of breaking their NDA. And I do appreciate that. The amount of, like, obviously I've talked to a bunch of distillers. It's always the exact same thing. They're like, yeah, we got it from over here. It's in Kentucky. It rhymes with, like, so, and it's always just like, oh yes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Go on. So
Nice.
now, so here's a question for you guys. Outside of the U.S., so not Scotch, not let's go none of the big kinds. Have you guys had any like world whiskeys, like Australian, Taiwanese, like anything crazy like that?
There is a bottle of like a Japanese whiskey on the shelf that I keep eyeballing, but I never pull the trigger. So
Which one?
What is it? Do you know the name of it?
It's the square bottle. I don't know. It's got
The one that we can't, like at the bottom, at the thing with the
No,
weird nose.
No, that's different.
That was Scotch, I think.
Yeah, but no. And not the Hello Kitty one either.
Yeah, it's weird. Don't say that.
Oh, was it like one of those luck cats?
Yeah, it looks like one of those things that no,
In the Chinese
but
restaurants,
no,
yeah.
I have not experienced many.
I have not, sir.
Yeah.
The answer is no for me, for sure. Yeah.
I'm just getting ideas for what I might send you guys. So
Fair enough.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Was
I think it
just
would be
talking to
fun
him
for me
about
to
you
kind of
doing
do the
those best ofs, yeah.
do the opposite
Sorry,
way
sorry.
here and just be like, here's a whole bunch of good stuff. So, and then
Wait, does that mean we're sending you bad stuff? Is that what you mean?
oh no, not well. So that was. There's a reason I didn't
That
say this
70s
immediately.
stuff wasn't. I mean,
I had to taste what you sent me before I decided if you were worth it or not.
Oh,
So-
damn. Oh,
That's
damn.
fair. That's fair.
You knew what I sent him before I sent it to him, so that's on both of us. Just so we know, like, I didn't send it, so I was like, I'm gonna
To be
send him
fair-
some Woodinville.
Yes,
What
I'll
do you mean
I'll
he
make
can't get Woodinville over there.
I'll make sure to write really big for you, John.
Wow! Woo. And they found him dead the next morning. Like,
Just for no reason.
my thought process with you is always like, he's in Massachusetts, we can't get certain things in New
Yeah.
York. I assume if I see something, I'm like, well, I could send him a sample because he seems hilarious. He's a cool guy. He's helping us out. You gave us opinion, like ideas for when we first
Yeah, great
emailed
advice
you.
on like how to
We
set our
changed stuff
up.
immediately, and
Yeah.
we
That's
got
great.
Jim now. He
Yeah.
does. That's right. And sometimes it gets too close to me. That's weird, but it's okay. So I do that anyway.
Nah,
fine.
It's only weird if you make it weird.
That is the one
You
thing
pulled
with
out the
doing it
1 foot
with
cock.
doing a show with somebody, like when I've had Nick Taylor on here a little while ago, a few weeks ago actually, like him and I sitting next to each other, we were pretty close, and I just remember thinking, I'm like all these other channels that have a couple people on, the ones where it's like a husband and wife, that must be a lot more comfortable, because when it's just a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
guys and you just like, I don't want to touch your elbow, like dudes don't touch elbows. You
I didn't wear deodorant today.
We've known each other 20 plus years, and we have
Has
an
it been that
incredibly
long?
inappropriate sense of humor.
Oh, so you were about
We worked at a
60 when you guys
restaurant
met?
together. So,
Okay.
yeah,
I,
he was.
wow.
He ages like a fine box of wine.
Yeah.
Good God.
So let's hop into Z, because I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. I
Perfect.
feel bad. I'm just picking on poor
You
John.
said Z earlier, didn't we already do Z? What's Z?
what do we
Harding Creek.
We just,
We
did
just
that.
did that.
Oh, was
That
that
was 2 years.
which one did we
That
not
was
do?
the 2-year-old Jim Beam. Hardin's Creek is 2-year-old Jim Beam.
Which one did
That's
we
what
not
just
do?
did.
We haven't done the
the-
Woodinvilles. There should be 3 Woodinvilles.
Okay, maybe I just
You should have.
you know what it is because these bottles aren't totally full, which that like not complaining. I probably just was like, oh, this one's half gone. I must have drank it. So I think that's what happened. So well, let me pour
That's
this one
fortunate.
back
Do
in
you-
here because I'm gonna
Do you
drink
have
these later.
3 left from us?
I think I have 2 left.
The
Well,
Muscatel
no,
that
I'm
was-
sorry. I do have 3 because there was the
Yeah,
other one
yeah.
that you sent a while back.
Okay.
That's the
That's the
Muscatel.
Yeah.
So
So I
we got
have
the
I have
original
the
Woodinville?
regular Woodinville. I have the
Woodinville Port.
Woodinville Port
Port
finish,
finish.
and then I have the
and
Muscatel.
then the Muscatel finish.
Okay.
How do you think we should go through those?
They're all 90. So
Are they
I
all
think-
90? I hadn't checked that. Okay.
I think it makes the most sense to start with the regular Woodinville, and then do the port finish, just so we can kind of see how that goes.
There you go. Have you had Woodinville prior?
Have I had? I don't believe so. It sounds very familiar though. There's this amazing whiskey event that goes on out here in Massachusetts once a year, and it's like 90 different distilleries come out, and every one of them brings like, you know, if they have less bottles, they'll bring one of all of their range, but most of them bring like 5 to 10 different bottles. And then you'll have some people who are distributors who have multiple different distilleries. Like it's an insane amount. And I've tried more whiskeys than I could possibly even remember. I used to take notes actually, which was foolhardy. Because it really just turned into me checking the box next to ones that I liked. And then taking notes is great. But it was like the first one, it'd be like, oh, okay, leather, blah, blah, blah. I like this one. Maybe get this guy's contact information. By the end, it was just like a big check mark next to the ones I liked, or like scribble, like, no, that's not good. Like Mad River, gross.
I highlighted some stuff so I didn't forget to say it to you, because I was like, that needs to be better color right there.
Oh, dude, don't even. I always have notes off screen. It's you should, because if you need it, it's better than an awkward silence. So. All right,
so these guys are out of Washington State, I believe. Yeah. So right up top.
And none of it's sourced. They bought. It's two guys. It's kind of like the Penelope story, except they didn't source. They started on the West Coast. Yeah. They two guys that went to high school together, and they started a distillery. They use a farm that's local to them in Washington State. They're like an hour away. Use all their grains and stuff, and they've got a bunch of stuff that we just haven't found. I found the Muscatel randomly about an hour away from here when I was going to a doctor's appointment with my daughter, and it was a little more expensive, but I was like, I've never seen it before. We always see the regular in the port, but I'm going to get this because I've never seen it before. Okay. So I don't know. And then there is some story about them leaving barrels out in the elements, like before they ever put anything in them, or they finish them, one or the other or both. They leave them out for like 90 days or 60 days or something for the rain and all the wind and all that. Anyway.
No,
that's just stuff that I have in my notebook.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's more information than I had. I actually, I had every intention of actually doing research on every one of these ones that you sent over. And then I was just like, you know what? No, I'll make them do all the work.
That's fair. Yeah. We're the youngins.
He's the tech guy of us, and I do this. Like I love but that's the thing. I love doing this. Like it's so much fun. And it's like it's the stories, and you go back and explain stuff, and you're like, oh my God, that's so interesting that this guy did this, or this guy did, or what's his face Nelson went over in the boat in a suit made out of gold, and you know what I mean? Like things. There's so many stories. It's so interesting.
It is. I think my absolute favorite story that I've come across. It was for the Yamazaki. I think it was like my 6th episode or something like that. It was super early on. And I actually remember my grandmother brought me this bottle of whiskey. It was Yamazaki 12, which nowadays, first off, you can't even find it. If you do, it's like $180. But I think it was about 110 back then. So it was still like a hell of a present from her. And so I was like, well, I got to, check this one out, read up on it. And the coolest story, right? So it's a Japanese whiskey, and not a long time ago, like whatever amount of years ago, this group of businessmen went into just a random village out in the middle of nowhere, Japan, and they started building a distillery. And the locals there that were just a little village, they had no idea what was going on. They really didn't know anything about distilling or anything. All they saw was just an immense amount of barley going into the distillery. So then they made up a story about a demon named like Ozak or Ozukai or something like that, who apparently would eat barley, and then that was why it was disappearing and never coming back out, because obviously they were aging it, but all they saw was just this immense amount of product going in and then nothing ever coming out. So they were like, yeah, there's a demon. So yeah, I like it. But Yamazaki, good. I mean, if you guys have ever get a chance to try Yamazaki 12, it's fantastic. So
he's looking at me because he's like, everything you're thinking about saying, don't say it because it's live. And I was like, I got that. Because you're talking about demons and whatnot, and that's he knows, like, he's had a few drinks.
When you say Ozukai, all I can think about is like Airbender. Like,
that's where I got Ozukai. I thought, yes, okay, it's obviously not Ozukai. It was a. I feel like I want to find out what it was called, but tell me about this whiskey.
I think
So
I did.
I don't know how long they've been around, but it's
not
relatively recent. But yeah, Central Washington, decent, like, Washington just kind of always has the same climate.
Yeah.
Right.
Except Seattle, always raining.
Right.
But not a hell of
But
a lot.
also still the same all the time. So.
Yeah. I've finished a couple bottles of this stuff.
Yeah, regular
it's-
Woodinville we both
Yeah,
liked quite a
it's
bit.
very
As
good.
far as that 90 platform, we talked about this earlier. There's a lot of things right at that 90 that we're gonna maybe start doing some series about it and trying to get knock some of them out between Eagle Rares and Russell 10 years and Buffalo Traces and so many things. And that's not to mention others that are just right at 90 1783. Like there's so many Maker's Mark to see which one is blind, like where it falls for us. You know
I like
what
it.
mean?
That sounds good.
And
We should
Woodinville's
definitely
one
do
of them. So anyway. So here, cheers.
All right,
'cause
cheers,
why
guys.
not,
If you like
This
the
was
beam, the
recently
Knob
just
Creek
opened,
Specs are the way
too.
to go. Yeah. So Sugar Kitty says if you like Beam, the Knob Creek picks are the way to go, which I agree with. The few that I've tried have been fantastic. Impossible to get on their single barrel list though, unless you are moving serious product, which is unfortunate because I think that could be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Do you guys do you ever buy single barrel stuff, or is it more like the general?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think about
Single barrel or barrel picks?
Barrel picks. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah. I think he has one from.
Barrel pick? I mean, I've got yours. I have your 3-quart on the floor down here.
Nice.
Yep.
Have you opened it
Right.
yet?
So, oh no, yeah, we've had it and
Yeah,
we've
it was
done it on a
really
show,
good.
but it's very little gone because
Yeah.
I told him I was like, if I can't get another one, it's one of those things I save until it's a special occasion or whatever.
I think I have.
But yeah, it's
I think I have like 4 bottles left, and I'm not sure how many of them I'm gonna
nice.
sell.
yeah, you've still got it.
He's been
Nice.
very stingy with it.
And it's you never asked me once to bring it over. If you said bring it, I'd bring it. You know I would.
I polished off my
The only
bottle.
time I've drank this is with you. Not one person's had this except you.
But I've had a couple Knob Creek barrel picks. They were actually pretty tasty. They're high proof, like 120. Like it was pretty nuts. And one of them was from the store up in Buffalo, Premier Liquors. They're huge, massive store, and they have their own. They can get whatever the hell they want because they're so big. But yeah, no, definitely good stuff. The knob barrel picks.
Yeah.
I would agree with the kitty.
Right. With Sugar Kitty, yeah. That's what made me laugh immediately. Sugar Kitty says this. I was
I know,
like,
right?
does she?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Do you guys have the chat open by any chance? Otherwise, I'll start talking a little
he's
bit
the
more.
tech guy.
Okay.
No, I don't, just because I didn't want to have 2 instances open and get any type of weird
Oh yeah, that's fine.
reverberation.
Plus, I'm so interesting. Yes. So.
Absolutely.
I did
You're
actually.
hilarious, by the way. I'm just saying, you're hilarious.
Are you a drunk girl?
I
Like-
can't. Apparently.
Oh my god, you're so funny.
Well,
Are you a drunk?
I went
girl?
from old man to drunk girl, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Oh my gosh! Stop
You're
it.
hilarious. You're so funny. Just cry.
Oh my god! It's my roast. It's seriously my roast. Is anybody else like? We plastered this all over our Facebook page and everybody we know, trying to get them to watch.
Just to make
and
sure they
listen.
would find out that John is. a
Either
real
apparently, yeah, like, yeah.
Well, I noticed that ADHD whiskey. He's doing like one of his last rounds of Matt Madness right now, so that's definitely going to eat into our viewership at the moment.
That's
But that's not a big deal because people will watch this over the next few days, and hopefully they'll like you guys because you're great guys. So yeah. Even if one of you can't stop braiding your beard.
I know, right? Wow, dude, that's like a nervous thing. That's like what I do when I'm. Otherwise, I'm trying to pick up the glass and be like, "Is there more?"
Put your
Well, I mean-
hands down.
Like,
I mean, I shouldn't be one to talk, but I mean, Chris can't exactly braid anything over there. So
wow, see, finally get him. Get him
Oh,
to.
baby face.
I don't know. I don't.
So what do you guys do for hobbies? What's your passion outside of whiskey?
I do some woodworking. I actually recently sold a table, and the story behind it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I sold it on like Facebook Marketplace.
It's not funny.
And, it's a little funny.
The milking table.
And It's just like a nice little wooden
They don't
table.
want to hear your story about tables.
I totally
The
do.
guy said like, hey, can I come pick it up? And I was like, well, the place where my workshop is looks kind of like a place a sketchy drug deal would go down.
Okay.
So I can bring it to you. And he's like, okay, would you bring it to this location? And I was like, yeah, it's a little far away, but I'll do it, not a problem. So I take it to this place, and it's a weed shop.
Mhm.
So I just told the guy that this was a sketchy drug deal.
Right, yeah.
Like,
And he's just like literally
so I,
a weed.
insert foot mouth. Yeah, I was like, oh, jeez.
Thanks for having us on. It was really nice. We had a good time. So
No, that's great. That's pretty funny actually. What are the like? I love that. I feel like he just used the opportunity to make you drive it over to him. I hope he charged you
Oh
for
yeah,
it.
100%.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
What was special about the table? Like, what did you make it out of? I'm totally interested in woodworking. I do very like novice, but still fun.
Oh yeah. No, it was a birch, made out of birch. It was a butcher block tabletop. And
Okay.
I just bought the legs on Amazon and put them on. But yeah, no, it was
Cool.
It was fun. I did it in my free time, which is minimal, but yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I built a couple of bookshelves, like fairly decent sized ones when my kids were born. You know, kind of painted them for each kid kind of thing. And they've still been holding up. Just I built one of them out of oak and one of them out of pine, which I did not realize how heavy either one of those would be. Like crazy heavy, especially the oak
You
one.
never do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oak.
Yeah. So, how about you, John?
What's the question?
What do you
Well,
do
actually,
outside
so
of
let's
drinking?
pour another drink
Oh.
first, and then we'll get into the
That's
question.
fair.
Actually. So,
There you
this
go.
one's
What are we gonna do next?
let's do the
or
port finish.
Muscatel?
the
Port.
Woodinville port.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Have you tried this? This is your bottle.
No, I've only gotten enough to pour out for him. So
Okay,
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do love the color on this. I don't know if you guys can. Yeah, I always hold it against my head because it's like the whitest thing in this room. So,
That was good. I like it.
I use my forehead to
Excellent.
white balance my camera. So yeah.
What? Wait, you asked me what I do what in my spare time?
Yeah, like
What
do
for
you have any
fun
hobbies?
outside of drinking?
Oh no.
Well, you said you're a
Do I
musician,
have any
right?
hobbies? Nope.
No,
What did I
he's-
do?
He asked if you did music. He said,
Oh no, I listen to music. You guys play music.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
he did.
You can still do it. You know you can.
Nah,
It would take me so long.
you'll lose it. It's yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
type
well,
like
since
a-
being optimistic, he's telling you just forget it. You're
I took
past.
13 years of Spanish. I couldn't tell you how to say anything.
Oh my god.
I just
Oh my
know that
God.
if you're in Florida, you don't say tu madre trabaja la casa de waffle because that's a fusion song. It's like
I know
Your
that
mom
you
works
call
at the
people a
Waffle House.
pendejo and then you get punched in the face.
Oh my god.
yeah, that's bad.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm
I
so glad it's not me saying these things.
I
It
dated a
was
girl
like, you
who
need to listen.
I dated a girl who lived down in Florida. Actually, it was funny. I lived up in New Hampshire at the time, and we had met at an event, and then just decided to try doing a long distance thing. It actually worked out for like over a year, and we would just fly back and forth, whatever. But anyway, so she was something with some spice. I don't know, and she taught me a whole lot of bad words in Spanish, and
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
yeah, there are, and they're all very creative.
Oh my god. I'm not.
Nothing-
I'm
nothing
doing a
wrong
better
with
job
that.
of keeping my mouth shut. Remember all those episodes
I'm not
where
gonna
you're
say,
like, you needed to
I'm
shut
not gonna
up
say
more?
the words that I know. That's
Dude,
not
I spent
appropriate.
like 3 hours yesterday. I'm sure you guys can probably relate. At my job, I had to take like 3 hours worth of diversity and sensitivity and inclusion and all that crap. Which is fine. Like, just in case anybody from my job ever watched, like, it's fine. I passed them. I did fine. I actually got 100% on all the tests. I understand it, but you know, it's also it's just so far. It's so far into absurdity. Some of these
Yeah,
things.
it got like.
Yeah.
So I've been at my job now for 6 years, and every year we have to take another one of those
Mhm.
trainings, and every year it's just further and further and further
Yeah,
down this
man.
road. And I'm
It's
just
like, is this how people communicate? Like, are these humans that are writing this?
yeah,
It's
like,
so
no,
weird.
this isn't. Why don't you guys just talk? Like, just
Yeah.
talk. Like, hey, that was
Right.
weird. Don't do that again.
It's like, yes,
Sure,
I
no
am
problem.
I am a hiring manager. If I judge somebody based off one of those things, I'm a piece of shit. But
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that like those things should never cross my mind, or whatever. Anyway, we might be going down a dark road here. So
I can't believe I'm not part of this. I'm so happy I'm not part of this.
So actually, you're probably retired by now, right?
That's good.
He would have been, but he lost his retirement.
That's
in
really
the,
good.
08 stock market crash.
That's right. Freaking politicians. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
So speaking of tests, there's a joke about this. I went down to the hepatitis clinic and I did real good on all the tests. I got 2 A's and B and a C.
Nice. That's a good score.
I hate you. I
Probably from a good score,
right?
actually.
You're not wrong.
Actually, that joke actually even works on more levels than I intended, because it could be sex or drugs with the word score. Yeah. I should have just shut up and pretended I meant that.
To marijuana stores.
Yeah.
You started this.
We're 22 minutes over an hour. We're okay.
All right, we can even swear now. I'm not gonna. But
It's only the first 10 minutes that matter. So as far as port
that's what
finish
she
stuff,
said.
nice. As far as port finish stuff goes, I'm trying to think. Like, obviously, you've got Angel's Envy, which is port finished. I'm trying to think of other bourbons off the top of my head that are port finished, and I'm sure I'm missing some very obvious
has
ones.
A port finish. We have a Breckenridge that has a port finish. Have you ever had Breckenridge at all? It's from Colorado.
I have not.
Okay. We did a show on it, and they've got numerous offerings where we are in upstate New York, including port finish, rum cask finish, high proof blend, and the videos I watched had something to do with the fact that they're the highest distillery in the world, maybe, or the highest distillery in America, or something, like, and their water and this, that, and the other. And we've asked these questions to some people before, and it's a very interesting question to ask you. As far as like water, Widow Jane, for instance, or whether or not it's Breckenridge, is there an actual feasible difference that you've ever tasted or thought of? Because, well, damn, that came from there versus there, and you go all over the world, so that's an even broader spectrum for you.
That's a really good question. Probably not one that I've thought about nearly enough, but I have thought about it a little bit. So when I think about flavor in a whiskey, like 99% of that flavor is coming from the barrel, not from anything else. Even the grain has a small effect on it compared to the barrel. Obviously, it's going to give you a base, but like a rye is never going to taste like a bourbon, even if you put it in the exact same barrel. But so as far as the water goes, I would say Tennessee. Actually, I think they have something going on with all the limestone and all of the I kind of buy into the hype of their limestone water being somehow purer. But
Tennessee or Kentucky?
Tennessee. Well, actually, I guess
it
would be both, but I know Tennessee leans pretty heavily on their limestone.
Okay.
So like
I was just clarifying. Sorry.
No, you totally make a good point, because they're right next to each other too, and you're probably dealing with the same aquifer. So, but
what's an aquifer?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
All right, cool.
Sorry, the big stone underwater.
Yeah, that's where the water comes from. Buddy.
Honestly, I wasn't making it up. I didn't know what that word meant.
So. It's a
I'm shitting on myself.
Permeable stone underwater that, like, there's basically huge lakes and oceans underneath our feet, and they filter through stone all the time. So then when you hear
it's not always limestone.
Yeah, so when you have places like Kentucky and Tennessee that lean heavily on their limestone, they are claiming that their limestone is cleaning the water better than other places. Now, there are other places where there's a heck of a lot more, coal underwater, which is basically cleaning things as well. But, like, there's all different kinds of water in the world. Ultimately, what you're putting into the barrel, it depends on if you're filtering that water first or not. If you are filtering it through even a equivalent of a Brita water filter, it doesn't matter what stone it came out of, because that's going to filter out a lot of that hardness from the water. So
that's interesting.
Interesting. It would be interesting to, like, I sometimes wish that distilleries would do fun experiments like this, and maybe they do it for themselves, where they're like, hey, what if we like import some water from New York and from California and from Texas and just make the exact same thing with different water? and see how that affects. Like that would actually be a cool experiment for them to put out.
Didn't you do an episode about Iceland? There's an Iceland whiskey, right? And do they use the water from up there or down there, whatever? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only know of one distillery from Iceland.
I didn't swear
actually.
though.
Yeah. I tried to get in touch with them actually. There's one distillery in Iceland that I know of. There might literally be one distillery in Iceland. It's on the very far north part of Iceland. Some combination of letters that's probably 17 letters long.
I can't pronounce it.
Starts with an F and ends with a J. Yeah. It's just whatever. Starts with an F, is pronounced with a K. Like, who knows? Unfortunately, I never heard back from them because they're like the northernmost distillery in the world. And I just thought that would be kind of cool. But
that is cool.
As far as this whiskey goes, so I like this one far better than the regular, the Woodinville. Mm-hmm. And I did like that Woodinville. But I think port works with this distillate really, really well.
I find that more often than not, anything that's like a port finish, I like the sweet notes a little bit more in like the bourbons than just like the regular offerings.
Wrong, sir.
Oh shit, I was.
Darn it. We're all wrong sometimes.
But yeah, no, the thing I think
I met this girl this one time. Oh, are we telling wrong stories? We're not? I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm game.
Totally right.
I'm sure I can go tit for tat with you.
Let's keep it going, man. Let's do it. I'm 47. You ain't gonna. Let's do it.
I'm not a good-looking guy, but I pulled
stories.
some good numbers, and I've got a lot of good stories.
He's been part of some of my stories.
I don't want to hear about that.
Hold on.
Well, wait a minute.
We talking Devil's Three-Way, or we talking Eiffel Tower?
No. You get 6 million views. We expect a package. Not that kind of package.
I'm impressed I remembered what a Devil's Three-Way, like that phrase is.
Yeah. It's the wrong kind.
We met working at the same place, as did my wife. That's what I meant. 20 years ago, we all met, like, give or take, within a year. Yeah, and he worked there, and I worked there, and she worked there. Anyway, let's keep this going.
Alex Drought says, "Whoa, I thought this was a kid's show."
Well, he was wrong.
Yeah,
so
he was very
talk to
wrong.
Sugar Kitty more frequently. Get him in touch with Sugar Kitty.
Yeah.
So Muscatel finishes 100 proof. It goes from 90.
Oh, are we moving on to that one?
I didn't know either, but yeah. Well, that's just the next one. We don't have to.
Sure.
We're going down the Woodinville line.
Well,
right?
I tossed back that port finish real fast, actually.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's readily available on the shelf all the time here. The port and the regular. And the rye, actually. They have a Woodinville rye. And now, what's your take on that whole rye, like putting out a rye when it's 51% rye versus a rye, which is maybe 99,
95,
well, you know what I mean? Like, where do you... Yeah.
So here's what
Craig and all that.
I love that question, actually. So when I am the kind of guy who likes to collect things, and this is going somewhere, I promise. So
and we have questions when you're done. We have questions, cool. Both of us.
So
this is excellent.
I love to collect things, and more so when something comes out and there's like a range of them and they all have a slight difference, like it's the exact same label except one's red or one's yellow, one's whatever. Like I want to have them all, right? So, and I am the right age to have been slightly into Pokemon, but just barely. Like I was honestly just a little bit too old. So like the catch 'em all like that, that's more a human mentality than like it's not based off the game, right? So anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up. So Woodford Reserve, I loved that they were trying to do every type of grain at 51% and then just filling out the other 49% with what made sense. But they missed the mark on like 2 or 3 out of 5, and it just made me so sad. Like their bourbon is obviously fantastic, their rye is really good, their wheat fell short for me, their malt was bleh. And then what's the other one? They had another one, and I'm blanking.
The malt was that bad? We've thought about buying the malt one because
I personally didn't like it.
That was that bad.
I do think I might be in the minority there, but I thought it was not very good. And it could be because I drink a lot of scotch, so it's more like I kind of know what else I would have rather have had. But here's where it kills me, is that I feel like if Woodford would have done like an 80 or a 90% of all of those things and then found a way to make it make sense, like really lean heavy into whatever grain it is at whatever percent made more sense than just 51, then I think it would have been great. I think they could have killed it. Instead, they have a bunch of mediocre products, which are at least a good price, but just totally missed the mark for me. Yeah,
That's fair.
Freedom Malts is saying it's really bad. Yeah, so I don't know about you guys. So you have not had the malt. Have you had any of the other Woodfords, like the wheat or?
Yeah, the double oaked is.
That was
double
the
oak's
other
one
one
of
I
my
was thinking
favorites.
of,
Yeah,
but that's not in the
huge.
same vein. Yeah.
The regular run of the
That's
mill.
not in the same vein. I think I've had the weeded. We had the weeded.
Mhm.
We had the
was-
weeded.
yep,
Okay.
the
I
weeded
knew
was
we
fine.
tried one of the other ones, and I was waiting kind of see if you said it. To be honest,
There
I
was
just know
there
it
was the rye. I don't think I bought that one.
Well, no, there's what there because they did different like things, right? Like where it was weeded, the malted barley, and something else, so you could try all the different, you know, grains or whatever, and they're all in separate bottles. Like you know what I mean?
I think
There's
the
different
last
bottlings.
bottle you bought was the one that they had for like the Kentucky Derby.
The Kentucky
Yeah.
Derbies every
That
year
was-
they put out one bottle.
I don't
with
think
King's
we've tried
Kentucky.
anything
actually. Yeah, I have. I know I have like a winter.
But that
thing.
leads. That's a direct like segue into something you said about collecting.
Yeah.
Like if those bottles every year they use a different artist from Kentucky
Right.
to paint something and they put it on that bottle. And I bought last year's and I'll probably buy this year's whenever I see it.
Yeah.
And collecting is a real like kind of weird term to use because people frown on it in this world in this thing because of a lot of reasons. And it's like we all collected like baseball cards or we collected this or that or books or comic books or whatever. Like it wasn't about like trying to take it from you. It was about like we just want like I have a few bottles. I have an old 1783 bottle at my house from the last generation of 86, and now it's 90 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like nothing special.
Yeah.
But I just thought in 10 years or 20 years or something when I'm dead, or 1 year because I'm grandpa, you know, maybe my kids will get it and be like, holy crap, somebody at an auction gave us $8 bazillion. You know,
You might actually die on the stream.
collecting's,
I mean,
wow,
That's fair.
that's yeah.
I mean, it'd be
Oh,
great
I
for
can go tit
ratings.
for
So I
tat
mean, if
with
you,
We can go tit for tat. If we're gonna do that, where I'm
It'll
gonna
be
die
like
on the
one of those
screen,
creepy YouTube videos.
I got the
and
tit
it
for
dies
tat
right
for you,
on.
'cause- and he was part of some of them. So I'm just saying. But I mean, I mean, wait a minute. I'm married. I mean,
Probably,
nothing
probably
before
from that Johnny Walker.
before married, but I'm long before married.
so I have a
Sorry, I'm just my bad.
No, that's fine. As far as collecting, so for me, it's much more of a, if I know that there is a range of a thing, I like to have all of their range, and I'll kind of go out of my way to the point where like special editions don't excite me the way that they should. And I think part of that might be because of the YouTube channel. Like if I'm chasing down special editions, either I beat the other people to the punch and I'm the first one to push it out there, or it's going to be one of a dozen where everybody who wasn't the first one put out the video. So I like to stick a lot to the core ranges, but to that end, like the spot whiskeys, like any color that they put out, I will be buying, even if it's a stupid price. I don't even care.
Do you have like a bunker or something where you just buy something that you know, like I'm not gonna open it per se, but it's like I know it's going away, or I know it's hard to find, and maybe you open it if it's hard to find, and that's a little bit of a different like question, but you know what I mean? Like just curious, like or a company buys out another company, like Early Times got bought out from Brown Forman to Sazerac and all that, and it's just
If I were one of my viewers, I would probably have something like that. Like if that was my goal was to watch Whiskey Tube and learn about
I'm one of
things
your
and then
viewers
be like,
and
oh,
I
that
have
sounds
something
really
like
good.
that.
I would totally have a thing like that. Every one of these bottles is taking shelf space. I literally have, I'll show you. Well, I can't show the audience, but I can show you. I have a box right there. It's a whole nother set of shelves because I just needed some more room. And I'm going to set that up probably tomorrow actually and put it, I'm going to probably build like a second set over there so I can try to change things up. But I need more room. And so if I don't, I never want to finish bottles. I'd say that's probably more my problem is I will have bottles up here with like a smidgen left because I know that there will be an episode I'm filming where I'm like, oh, this smells like, and I grab that thing and it'll have a little tiny bit left. I'll be like, yeah, it smells like this, you know? So I never want to not have a bottle around, so I'd never finish them.
Makes sense. So yeah, and like, so I guess kind of the question as far as like collecting goes is like there's two trains of thought in the whiskey space, I guess, as far as like a lot of people like that's absolute bullshit that you're collecting these and keeping them away. And then there's other people like, and I'm more in this camp where, and I do this with like Magic the Gathering and like the special
That was my
D&D
first.
books.
That was my first disease too.
Actually, that alarm was for
Talking about first diseases.
that alarm was for Rudy, the Alpha Investments guy. I don't know if you follow him at all, but yeah, he does these sales at 9 o'clock for his patrons and things like that. So
I do not collect Magic anymore, but we could talk about that in a minute. Finish your question.
That's fair.
He's got a woman.
So, but like essentially, it's like
You guys have been ripping on me the whole time. I'm
John.
shooting it back
That
once
is
in a
that is
while.
very insensitive of you to assume.
but that was actually a very spry thing.
I
for
should
somebody
take
to do.
sensitivity training.
What was I doing?
Did you
I'm
just
more in the camp.
assume my? I don't know. All right.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. He's been shaking his head at me since we started this. Like,
Well, that's normal.
you said taint earlier. You said taint. Like, way back when we didn't even have a buzz. You said taint. And he looked at me and was like,
How do you remember that?
I don't know, but when I have a few drinks, I'm more me than I am when I'm meeting somebody that I've been watching for like 3 years.
He
and
said
I'm nervous
taint.
about, don't want him to hate me.
I'm not gonna
because we just started talking, and I'm like, taint. Like, I waited. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because he's never gonna talk to us again. He won't respond to an email. This video is gone already.
I'll
He's
respond to
got rid of
Chris's emails.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, I've got to wait for like 7 of your emails to come through to get a full sentence. So.
What?
I'd be upset if he was lying. He's not lying. I don't know why I'd be mad about this.
My favorite part of tonight's stream is just how animated you are, John, which is impressive. I would think that your joints would be kind of going by now.
Age, yeah.
The fact that you can move at all is a wonder.
It's like
Messed up.
it's like a-
He's
like
gonna
a
be laying on the
Harrison Ford
couch.
movie
I threw out
from-
my back last night laughing.
He's not wrong.
Not wrong.
He's not wrong at all. He's totally right.
Man, I never knew
So
I had
great.
this many old people material. I just
Wow. And you do, and thanks for
Been
using
waiting-
all of it on
been
me.
waiting
I
in the
know
wings for
I'm
this
such an
moment.
asshole.
It's the best kind of asshole.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I told you it'd be fun if to do this. Like, I was like, he's like us. Like, this is awesome. I'm so
Totally-
happy.
totally
What were
feel
we
it.
talking about before? Like, was there a
Before your
point?
geriatric, you can't remember?
I didn't
remember
start it.
from an
He
hour
was
and a half
making
ago.
fun
So-
You don't
so
remember what
I
we were
think-
talking about?
I think I know where you were going with your question about collections, right? So basically you're talking about like
right,
there's a
right.
couple different trains
Yes.
of thought. You could either collect because you want to like just have 50 bottles of Eagle Rare for whatever reason, or because you want to resell it, right? Is that kind of where you were going?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
yeah,
But
we don't really
and
wanna
it's not
resell it.
Like resell, it's like
It's
the
not
fact
like
that
trying to.
some of it is like, yes, I want like a backup bottle of this, and other things are like, okay, I want to hold on to this bottle for 20 years in case of, like Booker's from 20 years ago were like $800,
Yeah.
Right.
something like that. And it's not that I'm
$8,000
you're buying like
20 years.
20 of them. You're buying like one of them,
Right.
just to hold on to.
Just to have on.
Like
Yeah.
I get, and I feel like that is great for the hobby because people are putting money into bourbon, and that
True.
gives distillers more money to do more things with, and then you get more bourbons. And then there's the other camp where it's just like, well, that's just selfish, and you should open everything.
But if you're buying one, like
Right.
one bottle to just put in your corner somewhere and be like, the hell with it. Like, I'll probably never open it. And if I do pass away long before you two, fine. All that stuff, like maybe my kids will have something to talk about and be like, holy crap, Dad, saved this for 30, 40 years. I'm not that old. Anyway, but you know what I mean? But there's a version of like, we don't go in there and see something like, holy crap, can I have every one of those?
right.
You know what I mean? None of us do that. We don't do that. We don't.
No,
do that.
there's
I don't
too
know,
many
none of
things
us.
to
I'm sure
try.
there are people who
I
do
mean,
it. But
for
there's like,
Go ahead.
why is there such a negative, like, you know what I mean, like
Connotation.
connotation to it?
Yeah, I mean, I would
sorry.
guess it's mostly because people are worried about resellers and the fact that they've just totally killed everything about all the
secondary
joy out of
market.
whiskey.
That's
Like when all these fun bottles come out, you can't find them because people just buy them to resell them, and that's such BS. Like it kills me. Like
yes.
I've talked about this before on the stream, and I think my audience is probably tired of hearing it. But prior to whiskey, I was super into video game collecting. And so I learned a lot about, especially in 2008 when the hobby kind of really took off. Everybody just didn't have money because everybody was, kind of having tough
Getting
times.
screwed by.
So people were
Yeah.
going to flea markets and buying old video games, and it was kind of also around the time when people my age were getting like really nostalgic for that old stuff. So NES games used to be like $2 or $3 a piece, no matter what it was. And then all of a sudden, every game had its own value, and that was a lot to do with resellers. And so when I see resellers in whiskey, it pisses me off, frankly. When I see like Jason from the Mash and Drum,
You
like,
are
I'll talk-
not a huge fan of that Weller 12. Like
Yeah.
it was like the bourbon of the year, and you're like $300 and something at a local, and you laughed in his face. If I'm not correct,
totally, and he
That's
deserved it.
terrific.
You know,
That's
and
awesome.
I felt like so annoyed, you know, because it even if the argument could be made like he was just I do actually think he was probably a part owner. Like he struck, I know the chain and I know the main owner, and I think he was like a cousin or something like that. Either way, the dude is helping to propagate a problem, and so at the very least it's just like, screw this, like you can put the bottles back, I'm just gonna like walk out. You guys are doing something wrong, and this is the little bit that I could possibly do as a consumer to show you that I'm displeased. So
That's fair.
yeah.
Well, and like
I'm
stores,
having
like,
a sip of
I've
this
seen-
whiskey, by the way. We've been talking for a long
Oh
time.
yeah,
Which
100%.
one is it?
It's like the Sahara in here.
Muscatel. Yeah.
Are you drinking the Muscatel now?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I poured more because it was delicious the first time. Why the hell wouldn't I drink it the second time?
Ooh,
I don't remember,
that's good.
but I
That's
remember
really
World War II. No, I don't.
You
Shut
guys sent me some really good stuff. I'm gonna have to actually think about what to send you.
so let's hold on. I sent it because if we're gonna give
Oh.
somebody credit, because you've been
John-
been able to curate things.
John,
since
you
before we
deserve
were
all
born.
the credit.
Like my rubber bands. My rubber bands are that of legend.
They are. Where did you find so many colors of rubber bands? I mean, they're all
He spends
pastel.
a lot of time at like Marshalls and stuff. And
They look
So
like my
it's- yeah, I
they
don't-
look like my polos I used to wear in college. It's like
I remember those guys.
pastel polos.
You guys talk now. 'cause
So
I
so
don't-
let
everything I'm
me
gonna
do
say
this
is
because
bad.
I do want to send you guys a care package, because first off, you've been very generous with me, and I think it'd be fun to do another meetup with you guys. So, John, I think you'll probably be an easier person to send stuff to. So Chris, other than obviously bourbons and ryes, and I do have a very special rye that I'll send you that they only made about 1,000 bottles of, and I'll send you some of that.
Damn.
Nice.
What would you say outside of bourbons and ryes would be something you'd like to try?
Vagina.
You know what?
Oh, someday, wouldn't it be nice?
You mentioned the whiskeys around the world.
Yeah.
So if you have something outside of the U.S.,
Mm.
let's do that.
That sounds perfect. Yeah.
What
I
was
actually,
the world whiskey winner? I have it. Found North.
Yes. Okay.
That
Absolutely.
was your world whiskey winner, right?
Yep.
That's a 17-year cast strength rye. So
Mm.
we're not even venturing into, peated or whatever. I say
Yeah.
we because I'm on the show too. I'm not dead yet.
For now.
I want to taste this. If he sends this, I want to taste this.
John actually died 35 minutes ago. We replaced him with a hologram
Oh,
and AI. It's
This is horrifying.
It's John GPT.
We were
It's
gonna-
like,
Jeez. We were gonna go with Tupac for
yeah,
aesthetics,
exactly.
but-
Yeah, John PT.
Guys are mean.
So I have this one. It's buried back there. I can't even grab it, but it's actually I will grab it. Hold on.
Grab it. We want to see you grab it. Go grab it. You can do it. We have faith in you.
Super buried. Super buried.
Super buried.
So
Not
this is
like
from
a-
Rabbit Hole. This is
Superman-
called the
Oh, it's one of his favorite distilleries.
yeah. So this is
And
the
well,
Boxer
actually.
Grail. So when you open this box up, hold on.
Shit.
I want to make sure it's not going to fall out. So it's almost gone. But this is let me show it. Pull this out. This is another one with a big, heavy cork.
Yes.
Yeah, what's
The
that
heavy
about?
cork.
Like, how much money did they have to put into it to do that
Right?
nonsense?
For the corks, yeah.
So
Why
it's
do we
it's
give
a
a shit?
57.3% ABV Kentucky Straight Rye. I believe it's 6 years old. Yeah, it's 6 years old. And I mean, in general, it's just really, really good. I liked this one a lot.
Oh, dude.
But more
Rabbit
so,
Hole
it's
is
just
such a
super,
good
super rare. They don't make it anymore, and I'm happy. This is bottle number 22 out of 1315. So
Wow.
yeah, So that'll.
Fun fact.
Uh-oh.
I got to go up to a speakeasy up in Buffalo, and they have like almost any bourbon whiskey you could think of that's like super rare, hard to find. And so they have the Red Label Rabbit Hole, the Derringer, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've since finished mine, but I put that up against a.
Did you say the Derringer?
I believe so.
I'm gonna pull that out too. That came with a gun.
Yeah,
So
it's
glad
terrible.
you didn't get one with a gun.
It's terrible.
I remember when that gun came out.
Wild.
Yeah.
I was a teenager.
Right? Yeah, you do.
What is this?
So
that is.
You said Derringer, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's the it's Rabbit Hole, I believe they call it.
Oh, okay. No, this is a gimmick whiskey
Brown
called
Foreman,
the
Jack
Derringer.
right?
It's called the H Derringer. It's a bourbon, and the idea is, I mean, the bottle itself is freaking cool. Like you can't even argue with that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And then the Derringer goes in as a secondary.
No shit.
It's so
That's pretty
stupid
cool.
and
In
wonderful.
case you needed somebody to show you again, that's how it goes in.
Right? Yeah.
Good job.
If oh no, I just broke it.
Oh no!
Oh, piece of crap. All right, I'll have to deal with that later.
What in the flying crap
Oh
just happened?
no! I got a corkscrew.
Yeah, I'll deal with that later.
That's fair.
I'm just
But
sad
wait,
that
that's Brown Foreman, right? That's the
I might
Brown
have to
Foreman,
super glue that because I kind of like that works like that. Anyway,
That was super cool.
King's
well, you know,
County.
now it's like
Just-
it's a little bit more believable.
Yeah. Don't take that out of the streets.
This is where you tell me not to say something.
Don't say something.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
that. Glad
I
didn't
broke
have to
my
go
pistol.
We've all been there.
uh,
But the Rabbit Hole Derringer.
Yeah.
This is Red Label stuff, and I put that up against, I believe it was the Pappy 12 year,
okay.
and the Rabbit Hole was better than
Mhm.
the Pappy 12 at the Speakeasy, which blew my mind.
I have found that Rabbit Hole actually makes some really good stuff.
Yep.
It's weird though. I haven't heard anything new from them in a long time. I wonder if they're doing okay.
Or did they get bought out by a parent company?
I thought they were moving
Or
into
were they
making
already?
their own stuff. Like they were
Yeah.
using juice, and now they're
They
trying
were,
to move into
but
their
they have an incredible distillery there. I think that they have
Mhm.
been making their own stuff for a while, but probably hasn't been old enough to sell. It's tough because, like I said, I've been doing this channel for 8 years, but in the terms of Scotch,
Right.
that's like nothing. In the terms of most whiskeys, that's like an 8-year-old bourbon is something to be coveted, but like 4-year-old is
Mhm.
very common. You know, it's
Yeah.
been a while since I've talked about Rabbit Hole, and I would guess they're just aging stuff. Yeah.
That would make sense to me.
It was his name's like Armenian something, right? He used to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Started sourcing in Chicago. I believe he was teaching or in Chicago, and he wanted to start and he sourced. But now he has his own juice. He started it, but I wondered if it got taken over again by Pernod Ricard or Campari or anybody else. Or Sazerac or anything else, because the juice has always been good. We've loved everything, pretty much everything, give or take. I mean, we've liked more than others, but
Yeah.
he's a very cool guy. Like I watched some of those shows with him and stuff, and he's psychiatrist or psychologist or something, and it's a very interesting story, but it's really like shockingly good, and we don't know where the line is between sourced and not sourced, but then we get into that finished and not finished, and who sources and blends and everything else, and that's one of the biggest things we learned.
Also,
since
I
we started
believe the
this.
Derringer is a port cask finished, or no,
Could be true. I was looking at your shelf.
Pedro
I can't
Hernandez
find it.
sherry cask or
There's
something.
no D, but yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Pedro Jimenez.
So what I think I'm gonna send you, I'm gonna send you some
Cease and
regular
desist?
Starward, which is an
Never
Australian
talk to
whiskey.
us again.
Okay.
Yes, dude, your barrel pick, right?
Well, so it depends on when I get it. So, actually, just for anybody who happens to be listening, I've been meaning to email people. So, I have 2 different barrel picks, and one's a barrel from Barrel Spirits. One, it's an Armagnac cask. It's called the Armagnac. The
Apricot.
The Apricot Affair. Originally, I was going to call it the Armagnac Affair, and then I got that stuck in my head. Anyway, the Apricot Affair, and then there's another one called Radiant Red. The other word, Solera.
Starward.
Sorry.
Oh,
Blame the
Solera,
whiskey.
Yes, that's what we'll tell you.
Yes, I'm doing a great job selling this. But anyway, so one's from Starward and one's from Barrel Spirits. The thing with they have all of the barrel spirits one, so if you only order the barrel, you'll get your order almost immediately. The Starwood people are taking a little bit more time to get the barrel to the people who are bottling it and all that stuff. So,
Is that because it's from Australia?
no, funny thing, it's in New Jersey at the moment, and the people I work with are actually in New York. So they just have to drive it over, and I'm not sure what's taking so long, but it's killing me.
It's not so far. Yeah.
We're not that far away. What do you need done?
Right.
We'll take care of him.
He's
What's
not
his
that
name?
far either. He's probably closer than we are.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, he's probably yeah. That's true. Yeah.
So what I think I'll send you guys, I'm gonna send you some of the Australian whiskey. I'm gonna send you this Boxer Grail. You're gonna hate me, Chris, but I'm going to send you.
There won't be any left.
I'm gonna send you an extremely heavily peated Scotch. But before we drink like that, that'll be our last drink of the night. I'm going to send you a couple of scotches that are like sherry finished, which are probably a great way to get into it. And then maybe even an American whiskey as well. So we'll see. I'm gonna look, and I'm gonna put together a nice little care package, and we'll plan to do this again.
Sounds like a good time.
That's awesome.
Even if it's
but for anybody paying attention, I'm going to send him
That
support.
stuff is so good.
Well, actually, so chat, should I send him a Port Charlotte 10 or should I send him the Octomore Edition 11? I think the Port Charlotte 10 would be less cruel and honestly possibly enjoyable, whereas the other one, maybe I'll do both. I don't know.
I have a serious thought process here, though. Like, by doing this, by trying different scotches and Irish whiskeys and other things that he's not a fan of, which I'm not a fan of either. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan. I've found a couple things. I said the not Widow Jane, but the Johnny Walker, the female Johnny Walker there.
Yep.
I apologize for not remembering the name.
Jane Walker.
Stuff like that. They were good. Yeah, there you go, Jane Walker. Exactly. It was very good. It was tasty. Some of those things are very tasty, and I don't really, the smoke doesn't bother me or whatever as much as it does him. So I'm not a huge fan either, but it's, so I just want to say I'm not completely crapping on him. Like, I'm not, I'm iffy too.
Not a big fan of hot Carls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who he is, but all right.
I truly think that you guys would enjoy Scotch if I send you the proper stuff.
There you go. That's fair.
So the chat is telling me I should send you Port Charlotte 10, which I agree with. I think that's probably the one I would send you anyway.
That's Brooklotti, right?
It is. No, yes, it is. I'm sorry. Jeez.
Okay.
Octomore is also Brooklotti. So in my mind, I was like, well, no, Octomore is Brooklotti, but oh wait, no, Port Charlotte is too. So, I am going to look at my collection here and pick out some really, really cool rare stuff that you guys haven't had. So, because you did that same thing for me. Like, everything you sent me here tonight, except for the obviously the nip of Johnny Black, I've never had before. So that was perfect. So I actually really appreciate you guys sending over the stuff. It was very, very good.
Oh, this was super fun. And
Did you have a Woodinville winner in all that as far as all three of them? I know you preferred the port over the original, but I mean,
so
excuse me.
I would say probably, well, hold on. You say a Woodinville winner. Were there 3 Woodinvilles?
There was the original, the port finish, right?
Yep.
And then the Muscatel finish.
Oh, this is a Woodinville as well.
The last one?
Yes.
That's a great, hold on. I didn't realize that was also a Woodinville, although now that you mention it, it does taste very similar. Let me pour the port. I'm going to have these two side by side and see if I can pick. Because my initial thought was the port, but the Muscatel, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moscatel. I don't know.
Muscatel,
That's a tequila? Is that right? Or no? Or is that a wine?
Well, because like mezcal is tequila. That's why I was thinking that.
Yes, mezcal is definitely a tequila.
Oh, so that's probably where I'm getting messed up.
Muscatel, I believe, is the wine in like Spain or something.
Is it a wine? Okay. I don't
know.
I don't drink wine.
I've been lied to before.
It's for young people.
I've been hurt before. I think I would go with the port, although they're both very good and they're similar in that, like, they both have obviously the same base. There's a little bit of a difference between the two, but I also have had 7 whiskeys at this point. Nuances.
Yeah, we're deep now.
Yeah, I would say probably the port if I had to pick one of the two.
That's fair.
But the Muscatel,
and that's the better. That's like $50, and the Muscatel's $100.
That's surprising
because I assume the limited bottling or
this is also 10 points higher in proof is the Muscatel. So 100 versus 90.
That could have
True.
something to do with it.
Proof points.
Yeah.
So you're getting less bang.
I always include the price point. I just feel like probably
totally
there's a
do
lot
too.
of viewers that really do want to know that, like where what do things cost there, and how hard. Why do I have to hunt for something that's a 90 proof and the same price, but I don't have to hunt for this and it's just as good and it's the same price? Like, there's a lot of things that we try to integrate all that stuff the best we can.
Yeah.
But we're not good at it yet. But
No, you guys are fine. I honestly have lots of suggestions still. I think you guys actually have a very solid channel. It's more the technical stuff.
on a wheelchair.
you need a walker with tennis ball legs. So.
You'll never see me. He's sitting down now. I'll be like this, like, hey guys, what's going on? Can I drink now? Like,
we can only film so much because my legs get tired.
7 whiskeys and I can do this. Hey guys, okay, what's still doing? Hi, Bill. Like,
awesome. Well, guys, I think we should probably wrap it up. We've gone.
Yep.
An hour over what I intended, which was a great sign because I absolutely want to have you guys again on the channel. So give us,
thank you. We appreciate it.
Give everybody your spiel. Tell them who you are, where they can find you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. We're the Bourbon Barrel. You can find us on YouTube at the Bourbon Barrel. And we also have a
Facebook
page that is also now
the Bourbon
Facebook
Barrel.
at the Bourbon Barrel 21.
21 is the email.
The Bourbon Barrel 21 at Gmail.
Yep.
And you can say hi.
And
we'd love to hear from anyone.
Even Sugar Kitty. Whatever.
Definitely Sugar Kitty.
Definitely Sugar Kitty.
Single guy of the 3 of us.
So you can click on their name. It's in the title of this video. It's also right at the top of the description. So it should be very easy to go find. Go give them some subs because honestly, they could use some more support. They are a fantastic channel. I've watched many things. Obviously, you guys have very good chemistry together. Surprisingly, we all have very good chemistry together. So I definitely look forward to doing this again. John, I apologize if I made fun of your geriatricness too many times.
Don't apologize for that. You needed it.
You did? Now I'm upset.
You couldn't hear half.
That's all right. You'll forget in a couple of minutes. So
didn't even stop.
Damn.
Apologized and immediately went for more.
Right.
How to know your apology is not sincere.
That was the best. That was so good. This is my.
If
All
I
right.
had whiskey in my mouth, it would have
This
gone.
is my first time I've ever done anything
Well,
with a camera involving whiskey.
I failed tonight to make you spit
Remember that
whiskey out
one
your
girl, you
nose, which
remember
means
her?
I just need to try again. So, to everybody who hung in the chat tonight, I appreciate it. Everybody watching in the future, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, etc., etc. Go check out the Bourbon Barrel. Like I said, they're awesome. And I'll see you guys next week here on the Whiskey Dictionary. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Phil.